All right. Oh, Reverse Will. This one, I definitely feel like this is the strongest credit song from Silent Hill 2. I just wish it wasn't so weird to get. Like, you have to do this on a second playthrough to even get this song. Speaking of, I actually have a 3-day weekend coming up, you guys. I'm feeling a Silent Hill story marathon coming on. That's what I'm feeling. Let me fix my shit. Hang on. Light was too dark. It was too low. Much better. Much better. Got some coffee as always. Yeah, Rebirth ending is the only way you can get this. This ending is underrated, though, to be honest. I really like Maria and Rebirth. It's interesting. You know, somebody actually... I should have included this in the video, but someone actually recently asked Ito what the canon ending, if there is such a thing, and he actually said that there isn't such a thing. He said that all 4 of the non-joke endings are canon. And then when someone responded, like, I thought In Water was, he said basically no, that was a theory purported by James's voice actor. So Guy Seehee was the reason why people thought that was the canon ending, but it's really not. You know, there's nothing that the development team, have said that makes it canon. That just happens to be what people believe to be the truth. But yeah, he made a point of like, why would we include 4 serious endings if we didn't think that all 4 of them could be true? And I was like, good point. See, it's interesting. He hates the majority of fans, but he is still willing to talk sometimes. Oh, apparently Linus Tech Tips came back. I'm really curious to see what they say. They haven't uploaded a new video. Did they go live at all? No. Wait, what the hell? They said they were going to go live earlier and they didn't. They said they were going to do a WAN show and upload a video later today. They have done neither. Oh, they just said that at 9 p.m. though, so. I don't know, man. They are in quite the situation right now, that's for sure. Because like they are posting inaccurate information thing was one part of it, but then those allegations came out and it's like, okay, this is actually like a serious legal problem now that needs to be dealt with at this company. But yeah, they have done neither so far. They've not uploaded a new video and they have not gone live. But the video that they made called What Do We Do Now?
I think Luke put it best at the roast a few years ago when he said,
"Oh, what's up, Siren? Do you know about the Linus Tech Tip stuff? Do you know of that YouTube channel? I'm sure you do." I wasn't going to talk about it, but I actually haven't said anything at all about it so far, and I just wanted to kind of... You've heard of it? Okay. So basically, Gamers Nexus, a competitor channel in a lot of ways, but way smaller, they made this video a few days ago. Well, 11 days ago, about, it says, the problem with Linus Tech Tips, accuracy, ethics, and responsibility. So 5 million views 11 days ago. Basically, the conclusion of this video is that Linus Tech Tips or Linus Media Group is trying so hard to crank out 25 videos a week that they're more concerned about being either the first people to upload or, just being entertainers, while also claiming to have accurate stats and tests and benches and different things. Yeah, he has dude, this guy has 7 channels. Have you ever seen? Look at this.
I think Luke put it back.
If you go to Linus Tech Tips and you go to channels, these are all of his channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels. So 9 total with his main. 9 channels. Holy shit, dude. And yeah, they've got subs. All of these are serious. Even this one where they're just talking about movies in a podcast style format. Even this bitch almost has 150K. But anyways. Gamers Nexus made the video. What the fuck? Hard R. Anyways, Gamers Nexus made the video about Linus Tech Tips, basically saying, hey, these guys are, there are some ethical concerns that we have here. They're putting out inaccurate information. There was even a situation where Linus trashed a keyboard and he said yikes. For some reason, he thought the legends on the keyboard were printed on or something. And then they have an asterisk that shows up in post-editing that straight up says, actually, that's not the case. What? He just trashed a product. He trashed an Alienware keyboard for a reason that's not even true, according to the editor's little post note. So it's he doesn't understand Basically, what Gamers Nexus is saying is he needs to be careful when he does things like that because he might just see it as being an entertainer, but you can trash an entire company. When you have 15.5 million subscribers, you are the number one. There is no close second, maybe MKBHD. You are the number one tech channel on YouTube. You need to be careful when you say things like that because you can ruin a company, even a large company. And then there was this thing about Billet Labs. So Billet Labs, I'll just talk about this really briefly, but Billet Labs was a company that sent them a one-of-a-kind, all-copper water block. So this is the thing right here. So it's an all-copper water block. I like that they stole that company's water block and auctioned it off. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So this big, gigantic water block here, they basically spent the entire video trashing it, but here's what they did. When this company sent them this water block, they told them, hey, it only works with a 3090 Ti. And they provided them a 3090 Ti to test it with. So what do? Well, instead of using the GPU that they gave them, they said, fuck it, let's just try it on a 4090. It's not even compatible with a 4090. It has not been designed or tested or even used whatsoever with a 4090, but they just said, fuck it, we're just going to go for broke and do it anyway. They mount it incorrectly. Surprise, surprise, it doesn't do very well. And then Linus's conclusion to the video is to say this is a horrible product and nobody should buy it. Because it's expensive. It's an $800 product. It's a prototype. It's not meant to go to market as an $800 product. It is a prototype. This is a concept. They haven't even brought this to market in any rational way. They're so early on in the development of this thing. So he mounts it incorrectly. He puts it on the wrong card. It doesn't do very well. And he proceeds to say the product is shit and nobody should buy it. Well, they got some pushback from their own community, and then he goes on their live show, which is called The Wen Show, and he says, I'm sorry guys, I just don't think I can spend another $1, $2, $3, even $500 of my employees' time to test it properly when I genuinely think it's a horrible product and nobody should buy it. This coming from a guy whose company was just valued at $100 million, by the way. He had a $100 million offer to purchase Linus Media Group. And he's saying that he can't afford to spend $1, $2, $3, or $500 to test a product properly. What the fuck? What is going on here? And then, to make matters worse, they were supposed to ship back to this company called Billet Labs. They were supposed to ship back the GPU, which they were very slow about doing. It apparently took them like over a month to do. And the water block. Well, instead of sending back the water block, they actually auctioned it off at their LTX conference. So naturally, people were like, wait, you know, what's going on there? And nobody really knew the extent of what was going on here until the Gamers Nexus video came out. And so what the thing that they talked about is LTX has potentially competitors for Billet Labs. Like there could have easily been competitors for Billet Labs at this thing, at LTX. I look weird. Thank you. I appreciate that. What's up, by the way? So a competitor could have easily bought this thing and made a clone of it because it hasn't even been patented or anything yet. And so this company, Billet Labs, their progress as a startup could be completely stalled because of what they did. So like 4 hours after Gamers Nexus video went up, they apparently reached out to Billet Labs and said, hey, we'll compensate you for the cost of the water block. So they're trying to make it right, but it was a big miscommunication. And Linus's initial knee-jerk reaction was to make a big post on the forums and say, we didn't sell it, we just auctioned it for charity. Which is like a weird, like, gotcha type of thing he tried to do, semantics. But yeah, he basically said, we didn't sell it, we auctioned it. And someone in the Gamers Nexus video's comments where they responded to that said, like, what does an auctioneer say after going once, going twice? They say fucking sold. It doesn't matter if it's a sale or an auction. You, in the end, you sold it to someone. The method with which you sold it doesn't matter. But anyways, that's all small potatoes compared to, apparently there were allegations from a former employee that there were some extremely inappropriate actions and things that were said. I'm not going to get into all that because there's a thread. I'm sure if you were to look it up in 30 seconds, you could find it. I'm not going to like restate the whole thread, but it's bad. It's very bad. And she left on really bad terms and left a negative Glassdoor review outlining some of the stuff. And so they made a video called What Do We Do Now? Where they made sex jokes. They made a 69 joke. They made a like several jokes about having a sponsor for the video despite not actually having a sponsor for the video. Like it was just really tone deaf and just awful. Like the fact that they threw in a goddamn 69 joke is just unbelievable. And then apparently there was leaked meeting audio. They had an emergency meeting after that girl that I was talking about a second ago. By the way, that person left immediately when they realized they didn't get under my skin. Like, why do people do that shit? That account was created 1 hour ago. I'm just going to go ahead and ban it. The dude is obviously on a burner account just to troll. Anyways, we should crowdfund a lawsuit. It's a startup. Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, does he not understand? Like, I hate the word influencer, but he needs to understand that when he makes a video and recommends something, like, he needs to be careful with what he says. Yeah, you look weird. It's like, okay, thanks, whatever, I don't care. Just keep talking about what I was talking about, and then he got mad because I didn't give him any attention. Anyways, whatever. We're not gonna give him any more attention. He already got way too much. So now they have a former employee's allegations to deal with. She basically said people touched her inappropriately. People said fucked up shit to her. They called her, you know, various different slurs. They grabbed her inappropriately. A lot of her managers were basically strong-arming her into doing things she didn't want to do, like managing the fucking Linus Tech Tips OnlyFans account, which why do they even have an OnlyFans account? I have no idea. It was basically made as an April Fool's joke, but they actually opened it. And so yeah, that's the thing. Like the Billet Labs thing is the most egregious to me because they straight up, like Linus continued to say that it is a horrible product and nobody should buy it. Even in his response after all this shit came out, he still proceeded to say that. It's like, dude, you're just trying desperately to... Are you just trying desperately to bury this company before they can even get started? Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this shit? Yeah, look how many people purchase Maseratis just because you think it's a horrible product. Doesn't mean that it's not something people may not be interested in purchasing. Here, I'll show you what he said. Here's this forum post. Let me find out Linus Tech Tips forum post. Deleted forum post. Because he has deleted it now. All right, here's his response. Hey, what's up, Pit? So here's his actual response. What's up, Pit? There won't be a big WAN show segment about this or anything. Most of what I have to say I've already said, and I've done so privately. Even if you think it's bad and it's objectively bad, people still buy them because they think they're cool. Yeah, exactly. Like, Linus's opinion shouldn't dictate that much of a product like this. Like, just let people know about how it works, and if they want to buy it, let them buy it. Anyways, to Steve at Gamers Nexus, I expressed my disappointment that he didn't go through proper journalistic practices in creating this piece. He has my email and number, along with numerous other members of our team. Here, let me turn my music down. And could have asked me for context that may have proven to be valuable, like the fact we didn't sell the monoblock, but rather auctioned it for charity due to a miscommunication, and the fact that while we haven't sent payment yet, we've already agreed to compensate Billet Labs for the cost of their prototype. Now, Gamers Nexus pointed out that the way that they phrased this second part, we've already agreed to compensate, Billet Labs knew nothing about this. When he made this post, Billet Labs had no clue what he was talking about. But, like, again, Steve from Gamers Nexus said, it is his job to ignore personal relationships. If he were to reach out to Linus before releasing the video, of course Linus would try to spin it and make them seem like the good guys. They would definitely do damage control. That's why they didn't do it. What's he going to do? Hey, I have this video coming out that's going to be extremely critical of you. Would you like to comment before I release it? Like, what? Nobody has to do that. Yeah, that is rich coming from him, because it's like, how many companies has he just shit-talked verbally on the WAN show or whatever else? Intel in the past, Anchor, you know, he's shit-talked so many companies. It's like, did you reach out to the reps at those companies and ask them if it was okay? Or try to get them to comment on things first? Anyways, there are other issues, but I've told him that I won't be drawn into a public sniping match over this, and that I'll be continuing to move forward in good faith as part of team media when/if he's ready to do so again. I'll be ready. Trying to claim that, like, what they did was not journalistic, or like they're being shady or something. I don't know what that's supposed to insinuate. To my team and my CEO's team, but realistically I was at the helm for all these errors, so I need to own it. I stress the importance of diligence in our work because there are so many eyes on us. We are going through some growing pains. We've been very public about them in the interest of transparency, and it's clear we have some work to do on internal processes and communications. We've already been doing a lot of work internally to clean up our processes, but these take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but that's no excuse for sloppiness. This is like the only good part of this, taking accountability. And then the rest, he gets really mad and says some bizarre things. Now for my community, all I can say is the same things I always say. We know that we're not perfect. We wear our imperfection on our sleeves in the interest of ensuring that we stay accountable to you. But it's sad and unfortunate when this transparency gets warped into a bad thing. The labs team, what does that even mean? The labs team is hard at work creating processes and tools to generate data that will benefit all consumers. Actually, you know what? Instead of me reading this, I'll just play the Gamers Nexus video, where they respond to Linus's response, which was awful. Yeah, that's no excuse for sloppiness. It's like, dude, you are 100% the cause of the sloppiness. You don't have a boss telling you, didn't at the time have a boss telling you what to do. All right. So here is the response.
Confirming. So we posted some coverage yesterday with some concerns about data accuracy, ethics, and responsibilities of Linus Media Group. Not going to recap all of that here. You should check that video out before proceeding its necessary context. Linus hastily posted a statement about 3.5 hours after our video went live. The video raised concerns again about an incredibly large amount of testing inaccuracy issues, alongside what we believe to be unethical actions and just issues with responsibility as a large outlet in general. Linus's statement, it is an unhinged, unapologetic rant where he shirks responsibility and blames others. He tries to play weird semantic games like saying, quote, "We didn't sell the product, we auctioned it." Or
yeah, it won't, but the thing is, like, their reputation will never be the same. That's one thing about this. Like, it doesn't matter. You know, the people who others claim have been quote unquote canceled, it doesn't matter if they like come back and prove that they actually weren't guilty of something, or they come back with all the receipts and it clears their name. It doesn't matter, because people will still believe the original allegations, the original accusations, and people will just always hold that over their head, because some people are just like that. They just want to constantly remind people of things, and that's what's going to happen with Linus Tech Tips now. Like, everybody is inevitably, eternally, until the end of time, going to be talking about this shit. They're going to be talking about Billet Labs. Billet Labs is going to be brought up as a meme for months, if not years, in the future. Like, that's just how it's going to be. I know how the internet fucking works, dude. It's crazy like that.
Misrepresent the timeline for when he contacted Billet Labs. He triples down on Billet Labs and says, quote, "I still disagree that the Billet Labs video is an accuracy issue. It's more like I just read the room wrong."
I still disagree that the Billet Labs video is an accuracy issue. It's 100% an accuracy issue. It's more like I just read the room wrong. You tested it incorrectly. How's that reading the room wrong?
That doesn't even make any sense. It's not the job of a reviewer to read the room and tell the room what it wants to hear. That is called a
sycophant.
A sycophant is a perfect word to describe it.
He also said, quote, "We could have retested it with perfect accuracy, but to do so properly, accounting for which cases it could be installed in, none, and which radiators it would be plumbed with, again, a mystery, would have been impossible, and also didn't affect the conclusion of the video, or so I thought."
That's just baffling. We could have retested it with perfect accuracy, but to do so properly, accounting for which cases it could be installed in, none, and which radiators it would be plumbed with, again, mystery, would have been impossible and also didn't affect the conclusion, or so I thought. That's such a weird way to say that.
Possible, and also didn't affect
in
the
all
conclusion
caps
of the video, or so I thought. To be clear here, the random caps lock is not us. That's the original emphasis. I mean, we could have retested it with perfect accuracy, but to do so would have been impossible is nonsense. And it's very difficult to engage with nonsense. I don't know what that means. And it completely ignores the enormous video-breaking errors with cooler CPU and GPU testing results and processes that sometimes wildly misrepresent the product stack. Other than the usual platitudes.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to talk about. So apparently they have been misrepresenting the Noctua D15. They have been misrepresenting it and saying that it can like handle whatever you throw at it, and that it's just the best cooler out there, when just looking at the stats, it actually is not anymore, and it has been outperformed by several other newer coolers. But they're still claiming that it is just the best on the market. Well, the reason why is because they have close ties to Noctua. They've released special edition fans. They've released special edition coolers with Noctua. So they are closely tied to Noctua. And they've been treating them favorably despite this testing not being accurate.
That sometimes wildly misrepresent the product stack. Other than the usual platitudes of we wear our imperfection on our sleeves in the interest of ensuring that we stay accountable to you without explaining how it happened or how they'll fix it. Look, we're going to talk about this today, but we're not going to drag this out and make a whole new standalone video about this response because they haven't added anything of substance. The response is immature, it's blaming others, and it's irresponsible to the community they've built. But we are going to talk about some of the issues in this statement nonetheless, and then we're moving on. Let's start with Billet. This is where the story is getting a little bit twisted. We saw some comments about this confirming our concerns that people would lose track of the actual timeline. First of all, we're not going to argue the semantics about an item being sold against the will of a company versus being auctioned, and being for charity, which we already said, doesn't make that better. It makes it worse, because now you're roping in an innocent third party into a very awkward situation that can potentially make them look bad by proxy.
Yeah, so now whichever charity they auctioned it off for is roped into this unnecessarily. Like, it doesn't help the case. It was a really bad way to phrase that.
And secondly, this is actually what we said. The first time they agreed to send it back was June 30th. At LTX, Linus Media Group put the one-of-a-kind water block up for auction at its Extra Life auction event. More seriously, Linus's statement, which reads, quote, "We have already agreed to compensate Billet Labs for the cost of their prototype," uses specific language to imply that this was agreed upon prior to our video launching. Following this forum post from Linus, we reached out to Billet Labs, with whom we'd already had contact, and we asked them the following. We said Linus's comment doesn't expressly say it, but it seems to imply that this agreement was made previously. Billet Labs said no, absolutely not.
No.
The only mention of any money to do with the prototype was our response to them after they said they'd auctioned it. And we basically said, that was an expensive prototype. They didn't want us to share the exact dollar amount. Billet continued to explain their email. They said, quote, "I said, do you plan to reimburse us for this? And we heard nothing. We didn't get a response until your video," and Billet thanked us for it. We asked Billet when it had received that email from Linus, and they noted it arrived about 2 to 3 hours after we published our video.
Oh, it's so bad,
which would have been around the same time that Linus posted the comment on the forums. So he wrote that email and he posted, and then said they've already come to an agreement. But at the time he posted it, Billet hadn't responded to the email. And just for the record, we have the timeline of events, so I vetted them. And Linus Media Group did, in fact, agree to send the block back on June 30th, and they agreed again later, and then they followed up to tell Billet that they would have a tracking number soon, and then it was last seen at the auction.
Oh my God.
So
that is so bad, dude. That is so bad. And he's still, like, this weird, like, aggression toward Billet Labs. I don't know or care how they arrived at the value. If they're good, I'm good. Billet sent us a quote. So he's basically saying they sent us a bullshit quote for it. I don't care how they arrived at the value, but if they're good with it, I'm good with it. Like, that's so, it's so bad, dude. You can't be saying shit like that with a small startup like this.
Time that Billet had direct contact with Linus. A comment from Linus lower in the forum reads this, quote, "Billet sent us a quote. I don't know or care how they arrived at the value. If they're good, I'm good." We asked them about this, and Billet emphasized to us that it had not sent Linus Media Group a quote. It noted that it had expressed a possible value of the block in frustration before our video went up, before this conversation began, after they learned that it had been auctioned previously, but that this wasn't any kind of quote or invoice. We asked Billet if it had anything further to share, and it said, "He's emailed us. We haven't emailed back yet at the time of writing. We thank the community for the support. We stand by everything we've said publicly." Billet noted that they intend to email Linus back prior to sharing any further details, and they also spent a few minutes to express very sincere gratitude to the community, and as they don't have quite as much of a platform, I'm just conveying that to you. They were extremely grateful to the support that they've received from you all. And I do think that they felt some closure on their side. Now we get into something important. As far as Linus's belief that we should have reached out to him first, and that not doing so somehow makes the 44 minutes of reporting any less valid, and considering the fact that he said there would have been valuable context such as...
Like, that, oh my God, imagine you're a small startup and you send your product to a person like Linus thinking that, you know what, this thing is not perfect, but it's an expensive prototype we've worked really hard on. Tell us what you think. And he comes back and says, it's a horrible product and nobody should buy it. It's way too expensive. I don't recommend it at all. In fact, I think it's a stupid product. He even said that he thinks it's a stupid product. Like, dude, you have got to be careful when you say shit like that. When they're sat there in the position that they are, as like a fucking industry leader, you can't be saying shit like that about small startups. You can easily shut them down overnight. Like, I get that he's trying to put forth this facade, like he's just the most honest guy with no filter. But it's like, dude, you gotta fucking chill out when you say things like that. He could have easily shut this company down forever if this stuff had not happened.
As, quote, the fact that while we haven't sent payment yet, we've already agreed to compensate Billet Labs with the cost of their prototype, which, again, Linus emailed Billet after the video. And this Billet situation is exactly why. This sentence structure makes it appear as if Billet already agreed to some kind of resolution before the video. That's why it's our responsibility when doing proper reporting to ensure that the truth gets to viewers and that it's not misrepresented by a manufacturer. We don't have to reach out to corporations when we think there's a patterned behavior or that there may be a significant chance that they try to cover things up or prepare a pre-written response that could...
Yeah, exactly. Imagine another company's paying him to shut them down, attack them. Who knows, man? Maybe it's possible. We don't know. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but what Steve just said there is 100% true. If you're about to release 45 minutes of reporting on ethical issues and inaccuracies, the last thing you want to do is reach out to that company because they're going to instantly work on damage control. They might even try to beat you to the punch and try to get a piece of content out first before you to try to defend themselves. There could be all sorts of shady shit that goes on. They could start deleting evidence that might be out there. There's all sorts of ramifications for doing this, and there's a good reason why you should not do it. So for him to say, why didn't he reach out to me first? It's like, because you would have tried to cover it up. You would have deleted evidence. You would have changed the story. You would have changed the context. It needed to be said exactly as it happened to make sure the truth was out there.
Twist the narrative. And
exactly.
In this case, manipulate the audience. Linus willfully ignoring our valid criticisms of data accuracy and some of the ethical concerns, while then trying to manipulate the audience into viewing him as the victim, not just LMG. This was very, it was bizarre. This is why we don't reach out every time. I want to be very clear. We don't have to reach out to corporations.
Yeah, they could. Linus Tech Tips could have attacked Gamers Nexus. You don't know. Maybe they would have just gone on maybe Linus would have just gone on a full-blown rant on the WAN show or whatever, just ranting and just name dropping and going in. It's like, it was in their best interest to not reach out for not just accuracy reasons, a whole slew of other moral and other reasons. It was in their best interest not to reach out. And that's not how reporting works anyway.
To reporting on them, period. For big corporations, we don't reach out if the issue already harms consumers or if their view is irrelevant. The Walmart PC, the Alienware PC, any number of products we buy, but we don't need to reach out because the damage is being done actively. And we don't need Linus's input or permission to make that video. LMG's videos are already affecting millions of consumers, and they have objective errors that we covered objectively.
By the way, it's not just hearsay. Like when they make one of those retrospective videos of like, oh, cheap gaming mice under $25 or cheap, like they did dash cams once. They did cheap dash cams under however much, and whichever one they recommend immediately shoots up to #1 on Amazon's bestseller list. Like that's how influential they are. When they recommend a product, it is immediately selling like fucking hotcakes. So if they're that influential when it comes to selling product, imagine how influential they are when telling you directly not to purchase a product. It's going to be the exact same strength, both ways. And they need to respect that they have the ability both ways and treat that with care.
And they involved serious ethical concerns, which we raised. And rather than addressing those, he's choosing to try and distract viewers by whining about us, not allowing him to comment first. And they've already commented anyway. They did it in all of these various WAN shows. We know what their comment is. We know what they think. And when there's an objective, factual issue, we don't need to reach out. The risk is to the consumer. And these aren't unreleased products. They are public videos with a lot of views. And I am exceptionally disappointed in this response. I am baffled that this was the path chosen. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to this circular deflecting nonsense. As for the rest of the sort of meandering diatribe, it's just bizarre.
Damn. Meandering diatribe. Steve is going in.
Just disappointed by this. Here's one such quote. I'm sorry I got the community's priorities mixed up on this one and that we didn't show the billet in the best light. Our intention wasn't to hurt anyone. We wanted no one to buy it because it's an egregious waste of money.
Yeah, look at this. Even in his response, even after the damage has been done to Billet Labs, he still says, I'm sorry I got the community's priorities mixed up on this one and that we didn't show the billet in the best light. Our intention wasn't to hurt anyone. We wanted no one to buy it because it's an egregious waste of money, no matter what temps it runs at. We wanted no one to buy it. He really said that. And we wanted Billet to make something marketable so they can, eat. What the fuck? What? Okay, I can't even begin to comment on this, dude. This is so, oh my God, this is so like egotistical to say something like this. We wanted Billet to make something marketable. There's a lot of people that would buy this like now. You know the amount of people on like the subreddits where they share their PC setups? Everybody would be like, yeah, I got a solid raw copper water block for $800. Like a lot of people would have bought this the way it is. So I just looked up a video about CNC machining, and to machine a simple looking one-piece bracket out of aluminum costs like $500 at least. I can imagine that block, if they got another company to make it, would be probably like at least a couple grand. Yeah, and it's solid copper too. Like copper is a lot harder to machine than aluminum. It's a much heavier metal. Oh my God, this is actually the worst part of this whole response right here, I'd have to say. We wanted no one to buy it. Well, at least he's mask off about it.
What temps it runs at. Another quote, will the it was a mistake, a bad one, but a mistake, and they're taking care of it reality manage to have the same reach? This is a very bitter way to admit a mistake, but my answer to that question, because it had a question mark at the end of it, is not if you are insincere and indignant about it.
Oh my God. He's not wrong though. We can test that with this post. Will the it was a mistake and they're taking care of it reality manage to have the same reach? And he said not if you're being indignant about it. Let's see if anyone actually wants to know what happened. I hope so, but it's been disheartening seeing how many people were willing to jump on us here. Believe it or not, I'm a real person and so is the rest of my team. We are trying our best, and if what we were doing was easy, everyone would do it. Today sucks. Oh my God. You have 15.5 million subscribers. You have a company worth $100 million. You don't get to play that card, dude. The today sucks.
This is a very bitter way to admit a mistake, but my answer to that question, because it had a question mark at the end of it, is not if you are insincere and indignant about it.
Yeah, the people working for Billet Labs are real people too, and they certainly don't have as much of a net worth as you. They're just starting out in this industry.
No. He then talks about being real people and said, quote, today sucks. Look, guys, I'm not going to mince words to protect my reputation amongst sort of the
This is so true here.
Devout LTT supporters, and that's gaslighting. That's what it is. Like we're the victims. Feel bad for us. That's what that is. So it's not acceptable behavior. It is embarrassing. And here's one more. Adam and I were talking about this today. He advocated for retesting it, regardless of how non-viable it was as a product at the time.
He's still mad about
this. He
this.
expressed really well.
Hey, listen, Adam and I were talking about this today. He advocated for retesting it, regardless of how non-viable. He's still using words like non-viable. We wanted no one to buy it. It's an egregious waste of money. He's still using this language throughout this whole post. Like, there's so much anger in this. Oh yeah, they said that years ago, Salt. Like they said years ago that they don't have to release videos at the frequency they do because they're basically set for life. Their kids are set for life, you know?
Today, why it mattered. It was like making a video about a supercar. It doesn't matter if no one watching will buy it. They just want to see it rip. I missed that, but it wasn't because I didn't care about the consumer. It was because I was so focused on how this product impacted a potential buyer. Bullshit.
Yeah.
We know why they didn't do it.
I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if I can apologize for not spending another $100, $200, $300, $500 of various people's time.
So I'll wrap this up by saying, look, we had data points in there that were completely ignored. They weren't mentioned at all in any of this. We talked about serious testing issues. We talked about methodological issues. We talked about lack of process. We talked about lack of QC. We talked about the fact that people can look at numbers that are 300% off in some cases, or in the cases of coolers, are just literally incorrect because it was backwards or installed improperly.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. His initial response to the whole controversy was to go on their weekly live show. I think it's on Wednesday nights, and to say, guys, I don't think I can justify spending another $100, $200, $300, or $500 of my employees' time, of my people's time to test this properly. Like, what? Your company is valued at 100 million and you can't spare 500 to do a video correctly? Excuse me?
How they can get past people. None of that was addressed. This was a layup to say, here's our 10-point plan. Yeah, we fucked up. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. There's an odd note in the statement about using their notes against them, like as if we're weaponizing their transparency or something. And I want to be clear again. Like the vast majority of the significant errors I found. They're not pinned under their videos. I found them. I went and I looked at the numbers and I compared their own numbers against their own numbers. And I found those errors, right? Like it's misrepresenting reality here and it is choosing to ignore it. So here's the deal. If LTT releases a new PR-inspired comment after this or goes on another rant, we probably won't be responding. This was LMG's chance to take responsibility. And he's shown LMG's true colors and what he as the owner really thinks. And we're greatly disappointed at the tripling down rather than proposing future-looking solutions. And at this point, we wouldn't believe them if they released a new statement to try and undo this one, because it's clear to us what the company's owners thought of these issues. And I can't get over this quote. We didn't sell it, we auctioned it.
That's the best part, dude. That's gonna be a meme for so long. Like people are already commenting on their on all of their posts everywhere on social media saying that we didn't sell our integrity, we just auctioned it off. Like that meme is gonna live for so fucking long. That meme might live longer than the Harambe shit did back in like 2016. But basically, Linus Tech Tips did respond, and what people are also joking about is that his wife basically gets on camera first and says, yes, that was a horrible mistake. Obviously, he shouldn't have said any of that. I don't know what was wrong with him. Like, listen, this is what his wife says about it.
That have been raised and how we intend to fix them with the money we'll make from our sponsor.
Just kidding.
Joking about sponsors. Really tone deaf. And then this is his wife, Chief Financial Officer.
I was asked for unflinching, and here it is. Linus is a human gas molecule. You've been telling him for years, and I've been telling him for years. Staying relevant on YouTube is hard for everyone, but we aren't fighting for survival anymore, and we don't need to run at this pace. In fact, in some ways, it's our efforts to keep doing more and keep doing better that have created our current situation. My background is in managing a pharmacy, where the small details matter a lot. And basically, I agree with the community, so I'm putting my foot down. Effective immediately, all YouTube video production is on pause. And our teams are going to be spending this entire next week focusing on long-term workflow changes to make our content better in a lasting way. This means for the first time in over 12 years, LTT will be missing not just one daily upload, but many. But improving to the degree that we want and need is going to take more than a week. So I'll be working with Taryn and Colton to manage our sponsor commitments and the financial hit of both this housekeeping week and a reduction in our LTT upload schedule. At least for now, while we get our house in order. But before anyone gets concerned that we're going to cut investments into the well-being of our personnel and our future capabilities, I can assure you that I've read the criticisms that we weren't willing to spend $500.
Yeah, this, oh my God, she roasts her husband so hard here, dude. Which I get it, you need to be honest, but it just is so funny that his wife is getting on camera, basically roasting him first, and then he gets on camera later to discuss it.
Capabilities, I can assure you that I've read the criticisms that we weren't willing to spend $500 to test a product, and as the one that manages the finance, I can tell you that couldn't be further from the truth. Linus made a clear and egregious judgment error regarding retesting a product he felt was impractical. That was wrong, and I've told him so. He allowed his personal feelings on the matter to cloud his judgment. And I want to stress that our organization is committed to our ongoing investments in making our content better. And we will do better as a team. Why don't I let our chief money...
But yeah, he does appear later on. And Luke was the guy that was sitting across from him when he was saying all that stuff live about not being willing to spend another $100, $200, $300, $500 and all that. And he actually looks so sad. He looks down and he's like, you know, he's like looking down, covering his mouth. Like, what is this guy saying right now? Like, he genuinely looks sad when he says that. And he says in this video that it's hypocritical for him to be one half of the people, you know, involved in the live controversy of their initial reaction to this stuff. This is him.
Trust me, bro, and the privateering incident, among others. But we need to be better about our communication. Now, I have no intention to like kill the silly humor or be less open with people. I don't want anything to be less fun, but we do need to be respectful and conscious of the impact of our words. We should be proud of the work that we do, but we shouldn't negatively compare ourselves to our fellow tech reviewers. When issuing corrections, we need to apologize. We need to respect people's time and their money. I said after the last round of this that you don't win by screaming loudly or dramaing hard. You win by fixing problems, improving, and becoming a hard target. We're still up a lot, and we need to own that, fix it, and move on, not be defensive.
This should have been the initial response. Why is Luke coming on here and being way more gracious and admitting fault than the person who created the company? That's what's bizarre about this. This should have been the response. Without the 69 joke. They literally threw a 69 joke in here.
Or shirk blame. That being said, I'm not really on the production side of things these days. What my teams and I are working hard on is to support the other teams in other ways. Reintegrating it to LMG has been somewhat terrifying. One of my team's jobs is to take over management of the infrastructure, and while I have brought an experienced team member into the fold, it needs a lot of work. So far, we've mostly just been focused on documenting what we even have, and most of our initial steps beyond that...
What? Wait, who said that? Who compared it and said they were better? Because that's the most childish thing I've ever heard.
...will be improving overall stability, rather than flashy video-worthy projects. Any production unrelated responsibilities is keeping Linus from driving off various cliffs, which I have failed at a number of times.
Yeah, so there's a video of an employee. Oh no. That's such a bad look. Was it one of them, like Luke or Linus, that said that? But yeah, here's the part where Linus actually appears.
And let's face it, he's gonna fail again. Hey, it's me. I'm Chief Vision Officer now, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to hide behind my recent demotion.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was the labs tour. They did a tour of the LTT labs. No, I know what you're talking about. It's actually in the beginning of the initial Gamers Nexus criticism video. That's the first thing they talk about. Yeah, this is the first thing they talk about in this video.
A few days ago, this clip from an LTT lab tour got a lot of attention online.
Right here.
The difference between us and somebody like Gamers Nexus or Hardware Unboxed is we test new components, new tests every time.
What the fuck? Why does this guy look like binging with Babish, though? He looks like that one, that really popular cooking YouTuber. But yeah, that was exactly what Luke was addressing in his comment of we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to our fellow tech reviewers. Like, that's such a bad look to go on camera and say the difference between us and other tech reviewers is we do this or that better. Like, that's such a bad look. You don't need to say that.
Here. I was the one at the head of the company for each and every mistake that our community has rightly brought to our attention. And once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally. It's honestly really hard when people take an internal process error and then they run that all the way to Linus is a thief and wants to auction someone else's intellectual property to the highest bidder, or accuses me of trying to brush something under the rug just because I do think it's important to get all the details before declaring me to be a low-down liar, straight-up piece of
He's getting emotional
We
here.
were slow shipping back the GPU that Billet Labs sent us. There's no way around it. That's our bad. But the delay in communication, the one that prompted the post that you guys just saw, it was less than 2 business days. The second that I was made aware of the situation on the 14th, I emailed Billet Labs and I explained what happened. I even included Colton's attempt at apologizing and offering, no questions asked, full compensation for their stated value of the product.
But they still don't get their product. That was a one-of-a-kind prototype. That's the issue here. Yeah, you might compensate them. You might pay them so they could make a similar product, but it's not the one-of-a-kind prototype anymore. It's a different product now if they have to make it again. But yeah, basically the reason why the miscommunication happened, there's a guy named Colton that comes on camera and says he forgot, straight up, he forgot to put in the correct email address. They did have an email ready to send within the correct time frame, and he just forgot to put it in the send to field.
One way we do that is using our LMG sponsor discussion subforum on linustechtips.com.
He shows it right here.
Include in the charity auction. But then it was compounded because when the issue was brought up to me via email, even though I replied 2 hours later apologizing and offering to pay for the component, I forgot to actually include our contact in that email.
So he failed to send it to Billet Labs. That's what happened. So that's where the miscommunication happened, is he failed to send this email saying, I apologize for the miscommunication. Please shoot over an invoice and we'll get this paid up. It didn't get sent. That was the main issue. That's where all this stemmed from.
There's no way around it. That's our bad. But the delay in communication, the one that prompted the post that you guys just saw, it was less than 2 business days.
Yeah, what about for the time and the damage?
I was made aware of the situation on the 14th, I emailed Billet Labs and I explained what happened. I even included Colton's attempt at apologizing and offering, no questions asked, full compensation for their stated value of the product, which happened on the 10th, before we were under any pressure to do so, and without Colton even bothering to check with me or Yvonne before just saying, go for it. He knows that our internal policy is to do the right thing. So he tried, bless him. I guess his job is safe for another day. And
By the way, this is a joke. No, you're fine, Siren Kill. Yeah, this is just a joke. Like, they've been joking about this guy getting fired for years. The running joke is that he does a ton and basically like is the glue that holds a lot of the communication in the company together, so they joke about firing him a lot.
Sorry, I guess I've actually gotten a little bit emotional here again. So I'm going to stop there because whatever's being said about me and whatever's being said about the team should never have allowed my feelings to distract from any valid criticism of our work. My decision, for example, to not bother retesting the monoblock, that was obviously wrong, and my lame response on the forum was a huge and unnecessary blunder. I owe you guys better, and I'm sorry.
I respect that he actually said it. I respect that he actually got on camera and said that part. Of his response, that should have been the very beginning.
For my part, first, I'm going to be working through the other members of the exec team for any crisis communication moving forward. And second, I'm going to spend my week working with the other teams to develop...
I think it's funny how he says crisis communication. It was a crisis, that's for sure. How much liquid currency they got, they should give them like 50K. They should compensate them for paying them for the block in full, plus any damage for the time lost marketing the product and damages for reviewing it in a bad light. Yeah. And not only that, like Gamers Nexus pointed out, there were competitors at LTX. Like, it's totally possible that a competitor may have used company money to buy the prototype, and now they're like studying it because there's no patent, and they're cloning it as we speak. That could have very well happened. Even if it didn't happen, that's not the point. It's the fact that it could have happened. Just a very irresponsible handling of it.
A system of processes that will help our company fulfill my vision of being a world-class tech media organization. I'm also going to be spending my week just refocusing, guys, on what matters most, which is bringing you guys the best damn content that we can make. It's been over 10 years. Good Lord, it's been almost 15. But I still love tech. I love my team, and even though our relationship's a little rocky right now. I love this community and everything that it stands for. None of that has changed, and none of it is going to.
During my intro,
So this is the worst part. Look how they end the video.
all for holding us accountable. I feel ready for the challenge and ready for this message from our sponsor.
Just kidding, again. But D-Brand did offer.
So tone deaf, dude. Well, anyways, my actual take on it, I don't have much of one, but I would say it feels like they're growing too fast. Because for a while, it seemed like every 4 to 5 months, they would be doing a big hiring stint. Like they'd be hiring shit tons of people every 4 or 5 months. They'd be adding like 5, 6 employees. And I believe now they have over 100 employees, don't they? Maybe? I might be wrong, but I feel like they have over 100 employees. Which, considering I've been watching them since like 2013 or 14 when they first created their intro that they kept for years and years, and they moved out of that house, that was when I first started watching them. Let me see. Employees. They have 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33. Oh my God, they've got well over 100 employees. Holy shit. Look at all their employees. They have everybody here. (10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 28, 28, 27. So they have... No, they don't have over 100. They've got 83 employees. That's what I just did. They've got 83 employees currently. And this may not even be everybody. Like, absolutely everybody. There might be other people as well. But they have a shit ton of employees. They've got 83 employees, dude. Considering the fact that when I first started watching them, they had like 5. It was like Linus, and then everybody else was either an editor or a camera operator. It was like Linus, Brandon was the camera operator, Luke, and like 2 other people were editors, and that's all they had in the beginning. That was it. Yeah, 83 employees. It to me, it just feels like they're growing too fast. And they were so big, and they had such a commitment to, they had such a commitment to putting out so many videos every week that a lot of stuff just started to slip through the cracks. And they had a video recently where a lot of the employees were straight up saying, I wish we had more time to make sure the videos were better before we put them out. But, anyways, my actual take on all that is just, my actual take on it is just, look, if I were in their position, I would hope that people would let the process just work itself out, especially with this internal investigation that they've launched now with these allegations. So I'm not going to sit here with my pitchfork and say that I hope, they experience like employees leaving en masse or this, that, or the other. Like, I just think that this is a classic example of a company growing too fast and not just having growing pains, letting so much slip through because they just couldn't really like see the forest for the trees. Like the money was just rolling in. They were getting sponsors every video. So in their mind, they're doing everything right. And the way that he was talking did very much give a we can do no wrong type attitude. And, it was time. I'm not holding back when I say this. It was time for them to get knocked down a peg. It really was. Because it sounded like they were getting a little bit too big and they were thinking that, they were untouchable and they could say whatever they wanted to say. Well, yeah, I mean, that type of behavior can only go on for so long when you're such a public company and you're on social media constantly. It was bound to come to a head eventually. And it recently did, so. But yeah, I'm not going to really talk about the allegations because I have nothing to say about that. But all I do know is they made a community post and also a tweet saying that they're taking the allegations seriously. They've apparently hired a third-party company and they're going to be investigating and they're going to post their findings. That's all they've said. So that's all we know so far about that. But yeah, rough week for that company, that's for sure. But, you know, 1,000,001 other people have already weighed in on it. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, this is just the reality of YouTube. This is the way that companies grow. It's like eventually, now Gamers Nexus so far has really avoided this, the pitfalls of it, because one of their main driving factors seems to be accuracy. And if it's a YouTube link, you can, but if not, I can permit you to post anything. There you go. Okay, yeah, the YouTube links are whitelisted, so you're good. That one didn't age well. Oh, no.
Or remove the World Trade Center from the New York City skyline.
I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen this, dude. There's actually a few other instances of that too, like in Terminator 2. I'm not going to say what they are. I'm not going to get into this conversation, but look up the one in Terminator 2 and a few other movies. There's a few movie covers as well where they're suspiciously missing, and then there's also a show called The Lone Gunman. If you look up the episode of The Lone Gunman where that occurs, you'll see. Spider-Man, yes. They changed the poster. Yeah, a lot of things got changed. Like Metal Gear Solid 2 would have had it in there because Arsenal Gear was originally supposed to slam into the World Trade Center, but they changed it. They had to hastily change it and release it where it goes to the Washington Monument instead. I believe. Oh no, isn't it the Centennial Building or something like that? I forget. But it's a different area of New York City. That's the point. Anyways, I know that has shit all to do with Nightmare Fuel. I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. Oh yeah, I was going to show you guys this. So I copped this for $59.99 plus shipping when it's usually $129.99. Let me find it. No, I did not get a PS3. I've got 3 of them here. I've got 2 fat PS3s that are both still working for now. And then I've got a slim one that's also working. I copped this. So I went on eBay just out of curiosity, and I found that they changed the design of this Gator Frameworks arm that has the cable built in. And I found somebody who basically said, yeah, I bought this as a bundle and I don't want it. So he was selling it for $60, which is literally 50% off. 60 USD. So they changed the design of this. The cable is built into the arm. And the logo, I think, looks better now. They made it all jet black, all matte black, and they changed the logo. Here's what it used to look like. Let me see if I can find a photo of the old one. The old one was more of like a gunmetal gray type design. Yeah, here's what the old one looked like. This is the old design. So it was like a gunmetal gray, and then the joints were matte black, and it had a different Frameworks logo on it. Yeah, you can see it there as well. But this is what it used to look like. And then they've recently redesigned it to be darker and the logo's slightly different. So I was like, yeah, that looks a little bit better in my mind. But when I saw the price, I was like, holy shit, I can't pass that up, dude. That's insane. But yeah, here's the new one. All jet black with the new logo. So, and the cable, it's 10 feet, but it actually like goes inside of the tube style. So yeah, apparently Well, yeah, matte black especially. I'm always baffled by like chrome parts. Like the chrome on here is pretty subtle, so it's not a big deal. But I don't know why they put chrome parts on something that's going to be in front of a camera a lot of times. Because it's like, it's just going to reflect really badly. And it could put glare into the fucking lens and all that other shit. Like, just make it matte, you know? And Rode has fixed this, because on the PSA 1 Plus, there is no chrome. It's all matte, you know, silver. But still. Yeah, I'm excited to try this one out because I've wanted to like overhead boom it for a little while. But anyways, yeah, I gotta stay off eBay, dude, because eBay, like when I see a really good deal on eBay, I always get this just unnatural urge to spend money. So I gotta limit my eBay time to like 1 browse per pay period, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I uninstalled Street Fighter again. The reason why I did that is because I'm not going to play this game until rollback comes out. Apparently people are working on rollback for it. And when it actually comes out, there's going to be probably a big resurgence in the community, I would say. Probably a lot of big streamers are going to come back and play it. People like Justin Wong will probably come back and play it. Smug. What, Nightmare Fuel? Well, you're looking at it already, so. What the fuck is Resident Evil Origins Collection? For PS4. What is that, actually? Oh, it's just 0 and 1. That's all it is? Yeah, it's just RE0 and RE1. Does it even have a disc in it, or is it just like a download code? When did they do that? Years ago, I thought. Yeah, this originally came out January of 2016. Around the same time that it came out on digital for PS4. I actually have the original GameCube copy of Remake. Which is not exactly valuable anymore anyway, because everybody, like, that game's been re-released a ton. So, it's not like the GameCube copy is really particularly valuable anymore. But it is cool. It's just a disc that has you download it, yeah. Dude, Facebook Marketplace around here is so obviously just drug stuff. Like in the South, it's really bad. Like there's even people that'll just straight up put, I will trade you this for a day's worth of meth. And it's like just actual knickknacks and antiques and junk that nobody actually wants. It's just like they went into their garage and looked at some random junk they've had for a decade and said they would trade it for some meth. Like they straight up just put it on there, dude. For like the same price or slightly over or under. And there's also a lot of things that are obviously stolen from like Walmart. Like it'll be Mainstays or other Walmart branded stuff that has the hook, the hole where it's supposed to go onto the hook and be secured. They'll just yank it off of there and then throw it on Facebook Marketplace for like $10, $15. It's so weird. Very bizarre. I'm throwing some more stuff in. Important documents, don't touch. Mainly just photos and some videos that I had seen. I don't really need any of these shortcuts. Anyways, there we go. In regards to what then? Isn't that the whole point? You can get a disc PS5 for $5.99 CAD. This dude is trying to sell it for $5.80. Yeah, exactly. Like, what is the point? Like, you just bought it to break even? Why would you do that? It was also hilarious when they were selling, like, I remember Red Dead Redemption as a digital download on Xbox One. When you bought it, it literally had a plastic disc that was not usable. It was just like a cardboard wheel that was in the slot where the disc should be with a download code. Like, why even manufacture the case and the artwork for the case? Put new thermal paste on my PC last weekend. Seems to run better now. Yeah, you always got to repaste, man. I'm using Arctic MX5 on mine, I believe, or MX4. So it does last about 4 or 5 years, but you always got to repaste it just to make sure that you keep temps under control, you know? Yeah, Arctic MX4 is the shit. I love that stuff. If you're going to use like the best of the best, you could use Cryonaut, I think it's called, by Thermal Grizzly. That is technically the best on the market, or Noctua NH or Noctua NT2 is also really good. NTH2, I think it is. As soon as something is used out of the box, I expect minimum 20% off. Should give you a discount for that. Yeah. Let me blow my nose really quick, you guys. I'll be right back. And then we'll actually get into some content instead of this. Whatever this is. But if you guys want to keep talking, that's what we'll do. Because I enjoy this actually immensely. I know it sounds lazy for me to say that, but I enjoy just talking to chat immensely. So. But yeah, Pitt, I don't know if you were here for that conversation we were having last stream, but you might have been. I don't know. I was kind of just like going on a tangent, but I was talking about how you don't have a lot of cash, but you want to spend money. Oh, I feel that, dude. I was talking about how I just don't really know what to play these days. Like, Evil Within Akumu was fun for a few streams, but like just thinking about the grind involved in that to get to the end, I know that's a stupid thing to say, but I just don't really know if I want to commit another like 7 or 8 streams to finishing that right now. But I also don't want to wait so long. That I have to basically restart the game because it's been like 7 months since I played it last. And it makes no sense to just not play it right now. Yeah. RE4 Remake Pro was fun for a little bit, but I'm like, I really don't want to even finish that because my least favorite part of the game is the island and it's coming up, you know? Hey, what's up, Kendo? Better late than never. Problem is you cycle through the same 8 to 9 games. That's very true. That's very true. In the, what, 3+ years you've been coming here, I have not played a large amount of games, really, unless they're viewer redemptions. Unless they're viewer redemptions, I haven't really branched out. I tend to just keep replaying the same stuff over and over. RE7, Evil Within. I only did Evil Within 2 once. Street Fighter, and other Resident Evil games for the most part. The remakes I've played a ton. Try something new that you've always wanted to play. See, the problem is, I have a lot of games that I have wanted to play, but I haven't just because I didn't think it fit with what I wanted to stream, you know? But I have several things. Silent Hill 4. I actually have not played a Silent Hill game in a long time. That's a good point. I actually do have a Black Label PS2 copy we could play now. And I also have the Japanese copy on my, The stream suffers if you stay indecisive and play something you don't want to, yeah. No, I know that. I know that, Kendo. And funny enough, you know, people have told me in the past that the most enjoyable part of the stream is the chatting segments. So I've thought about, like, fuck it, we'll just talk about life and shit, you know, sometimes. Maybe I don't have to feel so pressured to play a video game every stream. But that's part of me being part of old school Twitch, because I remember back in the days where if you weren't playing something, a Twitch mod would literally come in and shut your stream down. Kind of fucking mad around here, man. It's driving me nuts. Stamp support stream. Emergency fundraiser. Dark side Phil. I always get eyeliner on my left index finger. You did suggest that like 2 years ago. Yeah. That was the very first just chatting stream I really ever did, was that night. You know, I've thought about making Review Tech USA style videos too, where I just kind of comment on things kind of similar to the Linus situation. You know? I just don't know if we should play some like earlier than 2010 games. Yeah, dude. Like, I wanted to play Shadow of the Colossus, but I don't have the ability to play the remake that Bluepoint did. I only have the PS3 collection. Dude, my ears are so fucking sore. They are so fucking sore because I've been falling asleep with my AirPods on, and I've been waking up and like slamming it into my ear. So whenever I wake up, my right ear is like sore as shit, and now my left ear is sore as fuck too. Oh yeah, we watched pretty much the whole saga of LTT controversy already. Pretty much the whole saga has been watched. We watched the Gamers Nexus initial video a little bit. We watched their response to Linus's kind of tantrumy response, and then we watched Linus's video called "What Do We Do Now?" They did claim that they're going to be uploading a new video soon. And that they're going to be going, they said they were going to be going live in a couple hours. 10 out of 10 would watch Shadow of the Colossus. It's such a great game, dude. Alan Wake 2 in October. Oh, yeah, that's true. How long has it actually been since I've played? Well, no, I did play Homecoming. Homecoming was the most recent Silent Hill game that I played. The Silent Hill Community Needs to Stop is coming up on 2 months old. On September 5th, it'll be 2 months old. I should really start putting some new videos out, dude. It's so lazy to not do it. I think you'd like Control. Isn't it in the same, like, universe as Alan Wake? The Remedy universe? Or whatever? Not like they have a RCU, like the Remedy Cinematic Universe, but... Control Ultimate Edition is $40. Wait, in library? In library? Did I buy this? When did I buy this? What? I bought this already. What the fuck? When did I buy this? This is in my own library. I don't remember buying this. Yeah, I already bought Ultimate Edition. What the fuck? Yeah, I probably bought it way back when. When I was playing Alan Wake. 42 gigabytes. That's a lot of gigabytes. I forgot Keanu owned a motorcycle company. I'm still salty you not finishing Fatal Frame 3. I'm sorry, dude. My PS2 froze. You remember that night? My PS2 froze, and then I didn't want to play the game with English acting because it's so bad. My version with Japanese voices wasn't working. Oh, God, my fucking ears are so sore, man. It's driving me nuts. Ugh. You know, like that dull soreness that just won't go away? That's what I'm feeling inside both of my fucking ear canals right now. Not the ear canals, but like that cartilage right outside of your actual ear hole, you know? Concha bowl, I think it's called. That part is fucking driving me nuts right now. Watch a Wings video. I actually haven't kept up on Wings, but I did see that he had a kidney stone recently. And he had the, no pun intended, balls to claim that it wasn't due to his massive amount of soda drinking. Like the fact that he drinks half a gallon to a full gallon of Coke a day. He tried to claim that the fact he got a kidney stone had nothing to do with that. Darks Fidel. Well, I don't know, dude. Yeah, dude, he drinks like half a gallon of soda a day. Coke. And everybody's been asking him, like, why do you do this? And he keeps saying, like, because it's one of my favorite things in the fucking world. I know, man. It's so bad. Like, dude, soda is not even refreshing. You feel a slight sugar rush and a caffeine rush for maybe 15 minutes, and then you just crash horribly. Like, why would you drink it so much? And it makes your stomach feel awful too. I don't know, man. Who's crashing? Oh, I mean, yeah, after you drink soda. I really like, I honestly, black coffee and water I feel like is a great combo. I need to start drinking tea though, because tea is not so heavy-handed on the caffeine. Tea is not so heavy-handed on the caffeine, so you can drink it and it's like, oh, Wings of Redemption. But I was saying I do. You don't even crash on Monsters? I just can't do anything with like insanely high amounts of sugar at all. When I drink coffee, I get a rush for about 20 minutes and then maybe 2 hours later I'll feel a bit tired, but I don't like fully crash the way that I used to. Because when I worked in retail, I was super heavily addicted to 5-hour energies. Bridget can tell you. And dude, I literally needed to have a 5-hour energy to even feel normal because it was like a massive, massive spike in B6 and B12. And so when we moved from our hometown to a larger area, she basically made me swear off of those and switch to just black coffee. And I have not gone back. I have not gone back to 5-hour energy at all. I have been black coffee and water 90% of the time. Very rarely I will have like a diet soda or almond milk, but that's it. Keanu Reeves' motorcycle company costs over like $100K each. Jesus Christ, man. That's like a fucking, I forget what that company is called, but the one that makes the speed bikes. Like the ones that people actually do racing and shit with. They're that expensive too, like the supercharged ones. Almond milk? Almond milk is alright. I don't like it sweetened though. I like just standard. And almond milk varies a lot depending on where you get it from. Like some places you buy it from, like in the US, if you buy it from Kroger, it's really fucking watery. But if you get it from Walmart, the same brand of like the company's brand, like Kroger has like something good value and then Walmart has great value. If you get it from Walmart, it's way thicker and it actually has the consistency of cow's milk. So tastes like medicine to me. Depends on where you get it from. Some of them have a bitter aftertaste and some don't. You just gotta shop around and find the right one. Did I hear about the new Mustang? I did not. Is it the 2024? Wait, what? Ford is offering new 3K discount and lease offers. Is it the Mach-E that you're talking about? Soy milk and oat milk, however, is a big go-to. I've never really liked soy milk because that one gives me a bit of an aftertaste that I'm not a fan of. New Mustang 300K is an autofill, so let's search that. Oh, GTD supercar, 800 horsepower. What the fuck? Oh, okay, yeah. Reveals 800 horsepower Mustang with 300K price tag. Guys, I don't know if I can justify another $1, $2, $3, $5 of my time to look at this. I'm sorry. Says the soy second boyfriend. Dude, Doc was dying laughing a couple nights ago when I said that. Yeah, 300K is fucking egregious, man. 300K is fucking egregious for sure. Dude, if I had the money, I swear to God, I would hire an editor. Because it's not that I hate editing. I actually enjoy it immensely. It just is so time consuming, and I genuinely don't have the time most days to edit. The only time I really have to edit is on the weekends, which is why I didn't do a watch party last weekend, and it's not even an excuse. It's just it's literally just a reason. Like, I work full time. I can't take days off right now, although I do have a 3-day weekend coming up after this week. So after Monday, I do have 3 days in a row that I'll be off. So definitely a couple videos are coming out. I'll be off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll probably do an extra stream, and we might actually do a Silent Hill story marathon for the first time in a long time. Like, Tuesday night going into Wednesday would be the perfect time to do that, because Bridget and I are both off on Wednesdays. So I might actually do like an 18 to 19 hour Silent Hill story marathon, which I haven't done in a long time. And that's how I've met the majority of people that have come through here and stuck around, is through those marathons. So that'll be really cool to finally do one again. It is time consuming because I'm not used to it yet. Yeah, I need to like find a bunch of shortcuts and optimizations and ways to edit faster. That's what I really need to be working on right now. Because I know there's a ton of things that I could be doing to make life easier. I'm just not doing it. What I really need is somebody that knows what they're doing to just sit me down and be like, here, do this, do that. Like, in this scenario, this is how you can do this faster. Like, just show me a lot of the tips and tricks, because a lot of the videos that are out there, they're basically just covering how to put a video together and export it. They're not talking about the specifics of how to make things better, how to fix things, and how to, how to do ripple edits quickly. Like, a lot of stuff out there is so vague in general that it's tough for me to actually get value out of it. And the time it takes to watch the video, like, I could have already made another 30, 40 seconds of progress on the video itself, on the actual runtime of the video. But Adobe Premiere is definitely the way. I don't intend to use any other editing software. Adobe Premiere is the shit. It is awesome. I was using DaVinci Resolve for a little bit. DaVinci Resolve is, the free version especially, is not that great. DaVinci Resolve has good tools, but the free version did this weird, like, ultra compression on my audio. I mean, it was so fucking compressed. I could barely, like, anytime I would make an S sound, it would just sound like a bunch of digital noise, if that makes any sense, in my ears. It was so bad. And so that was the video where I made the SM7B versus 57, which I intend to make again now that I have a 58. I'm going to remake that video and just probably delete the old one. But I now have a 57 and a 58 and a 7B, so I can compare all three of them, and I actually want to make it like a decent video with B-roll and shit. I don't just want to sit in front of the camera and do like a live stream type video. But that's the problem, with making stuff for YouTube, is like, everybody has 1,000,001 great ideas, but it's actually completing it is the and fitting it into a busy ass schedule is also very hard, because like I have for the past few weeks we've been doing watch parties Saturday night instead of a stream, and then I work full time, like I said, Thursday through Monday every week, full time, a lot of times more than full time, because I've been coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday and doing overtime a lot recently, and then 3 streams a week, keeping up with the stream VOD upload channel to make sure we don't lose VODs, and then making personal YouTube videos. Like, it's a lot. It actually is a lot. Not an excuse, just a reason. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a goal to get at least one video released, fully released, a month. Just one a month in the beginning. And then maybe if things start to you know, get traction, which they already kind of have based on that first video, if things continue on that trend, then I will start doing maybe 2 a month and maybe 3 a month if I can get really, really good with Adobe Premiere. But there are a lot of video editors on Fiverr. They basically pay like by the minute. So if you want like a 15-minute video, you could be paying upwards of like $60 for someone to get it done. In my mind, that would be worth it. But I think I think 2 a month is good. Hey, what's up, Panda? Premiere is good. I'm lucky my job pays my Adobe Creative Suite. I have everything. Yeah. I pay for everything even though I don't want it. I literally just want Premiere and they force me to pay for everything. So that's a little annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think 2 a month should be the goal. I think, you know, 1 at the beginning of the month and 1 in the middle is all I should do. That way I have a decent amount of time to work on each one. Like I could spend a solid 2 weekends, you know, a Saturday night and a Sunday night just strictly editing. I think that's a great idea, actually, because it really takes me a good solid 2 days. No, it actually can't anymore, Salt, because there's no way to get what they used to call a lifetime license. You can't get that anymore. A few years ago, they made a change. Before, in the past, you used to be able to pay like $400 or $500 and get what was called a lifetime license. And those people still get to retain that because it would legally be impossible to remove that ability from them. But now, the only way, if you're not like grandfathered into the permanent license thing, you have to pay a monthly subscription service. That's the only option. And they did that specifically because they know that you're just infinitely going to be giving them money, and over the course of 3-4 years, you will have paid more than anyone who bought a permanent license in the past. And that's the way that all editing software is going. All editing software is going that route. Like DaVinci Resolve, I think, has a subscription plan. Adobe Premiere, I'm sure Sony Vegas probably has a subscription plan. Because why wouldn't they? They are going to do whatever makes them more money, period, end of story. Fuck them for doing that, +1 to piracy on that shit too. It's not, unfortunately, Panda. It should be, but it's not. Listen, I've got 2 of these. I can't really get people to talk about stuff. Like, I can do it solo. I could easily do it solo. Like, we're basically doing that right now. But I'd have to get a better format. I would have to get some artwork to put somewhere on stream. Like, there's just, I just haven't really had time to work on that since the StreamBot upload channel and working on my own personal YouTube videos, edited content. Just haven't really had a chance to work on it anymore, which sucks because I wanted to do that too. Yeah, Linus did what? And then the thumbnail is, no fucking way. And then in the bottom, I just put in all capital text, he is. That's the way the YouTube game is played, dude. Canceled? Yeah. But that's how it goes, dude. That's how it goes. Dude, podcasts are probably the single most saturated market in terms of content right now. Holy shit. There are so many podcasts starting every single day, it feels like. Every day I go on my YouTube and a channel that I previously watched for something entirely different has now started their own podcast. It's like everybody collectively realized that it's a super easy way to make money, which it is. You just sit there and have a conversation. You have to edit like 3 camera feeds worth of footage of you just cutting to you and then cutting to them and then cutting to you and cutting to them. That's really all you have to edit. Just have a camera on you, a camera on your guest, and just have somebody edit that together so that whoever is speaking, the camera focuses on. That's it, dude. It's so easy. And it's no wonder everybody's starting it. Oh, there's a Nick Crowley video, The Darkest Moments in TV History 3. This is genuine nightmare fuel. You guys want to watch this? Nick Crowley is one of my favorite YouTubers, and I'm not even subbed to him, so I'm gonna drop it now. This video was removed because of a copyright claim from the WWE. I had to trim a portion of Chapter 4, which is why the edit might seem jarring. The video is still under dispute and unfortunately might be taken down. Oh, Jesus, that sucks. But yeah, podcasts are so saturated, dude. You know, there's a skate channel I watch called Braille Skateboarding, and they recently did that too, where they made a podcast called the Braille Drop Podcast. It's just like, dude, every fucking person and their brother and their mom and cousin and second cousin twice removed are all making podcasts right now. So for me to make one, I feel like that would need to wait until some significant progress was made on the YouTube front. You know what I mean? I also hate those clips that you see. We were talking about this the other day. Those clips that you see on TikTok. You guys know the ones I'm talking about, where it's like they're in their podcast and they're like, so you guys will not believe that in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there is an episode where one of the turtles actually dies, and then it cuts to somebody else going, and then they just keep talking. It's like, dude, there's so many of those clips out there too. It's like they're just talking about some random cartoon and how someone is actually dead, or how there's some hidden dark message in one of the episodes, and it's just like complete hearsay nonsense bullshit that they read on like a subreddit. But they get views. I mean, these people, they know what gets the views, because you see one of those clips, and although it's the same formulaic bullshit every time, it's got like 40,000 likes and shit ton of views. So see, that's the dangerous game that you play nowadays if you want to make content, is you basically have to dumb your content down. I hate saying it, and I don't mean that in an elitist way at all, because some of the people make great content. But if you want to get clips that then bring traction into your stream, you have to make dumb clips. You have to make clips of people pretending to be shocked at mundane stuff. You have to make clips of people pretending to not know anything about certain subjects and being shocked by it. Like, that's what gets traction. That's what gets views. Humans game everything, true. So you basically have to, like, you know, make sure that you're getting the clickbait TikTok clip every time you record your podcast. And there was even one that I talked about where a lady wasn't even on a podcast. She literally faked being on a podcast. Like, there was a clip going around where she was talking about making a shit ton of money on OnlyFans. And she was sitting in a chair with an SM7B in front of her. And she was talking into it with headphones on, literally looking like she was sitting in a podcast studio. And so people started trying to find out what podcast she was on. It turns out she wasn't even on one. It was a fake set that she had created just to make the clip. So people are now faking being on podcasts to get traction because they know that those clips are going crazy right now. So I should just like sit back. What I should do is I should get one of those PC carts. I should wheel my PC into my living room. I should sit at my dining table. And I should set this up in a way that it looks like I'm recording a podcast and just say some outrageous shit. You know, just say some crazy stuff about like a theory or a fan theory about a show that is kind of wild, and then just put that up. Like, that's all you have to do. It doesn't even have to be a real clip from a real podcast. It'll get traction. Was Link actually dead in Majora's Mask, dude? So stupid. Anyways, let's watch this video. I'm excited for this. And it may not even be up that much longer. Based on what he said, this video might get removed. So let's watch it before it gets removed. He makes such great videos. You guys let me know if it's too loud.
2011. The Chilean news station TVN is hosting a live game show called KA7, or 7th Street, in which young adults compete in a series of challenges to avoid being eliminated, with the winner going on to eventually earn a
Auto-generated. Does he not have actual captions? Yeah, it's only auto-generated. It's whack that they're even called podcasts still, dude. Yeah, it's literally just the ones I can't stand, and you guys already know which ones I'm talking about. There's two major ones. One of them starts with an F and the other starts with a W. I can't stand the dating podcasts where it's like one guy as the host, or maybe two, couple guys, and then there's just like a gaggle of OnlyFans models, or a ton of just women that are like at various different ages, backgrounds, whatever, and they're just owning them the whole time. Like those just drive me nuts because every clip is the exact same. You know, it's like the mic drop or the oh type clips, you know, the fucking gotcha clips. Those drive me nuts, dude. It's like you're literally sat there with 17 different women and 17 different mics, and then somehow Destiny's in the mix. Like, why is he even there? And then his fiance is there as well, and they're just like all continually arguing and farming clips off of each other. Yeah, that's where the term originated. Podcast came from iPods because, you know, it was basically a radio show that you could release on iPod. But yeah, the term has just become this whole other thing now, you know. And people are even using really cringy verbs. Like they'll say, "Oh yeah, bro, I really like podding with you." Ugh. Or they'll say, "Yeah, we came to record the pod." So they're trying to make like these new terms. I really like podding with you. Why don't you just call it talking? You're literally just having a conversation. You're not podding. Anyways.
Cash prize. In Chile, the show was considered a success during its
I'm
run,
cynical,
though
okay.
it was never anything too out of the ordinary, especially as far as game shows go. And many familiar with it would probably be surprised to see it discussed in a video like this, as its family-friendly setup made it the last place you would ever expect to encounter a dark TV moment. And for most of its run, this was true, except for that fateful September day.
Por favor, quiero que paren la competencia. Quiero que paren la competencia, por favor. Nos acaba de llegar una información muy difícil de entregar. No habíamos querido decir nada antes de chequear bien lo que estaba sucediendo porque compromete a personajes del...
Somebody in the audience get hurt or what?
As the participants were engaging in a heated competition, the host, Jean-Philippe, unexpectedly halts the program in the middle of a game with breaking news that a terrible, terrible accident had occurred, though not one on the show, but instead within the network itself.
Oh, okay.
That morning, a team of workers from the TVN station, including famed presenters Felipe Camaroga and Roberto Bruce, along with numerous staff, had boarded a military aircraft to document the recovery efforts after the 2010 earthquake which had ravaged the country, with the plane heading for the island of Robinson Crusoe, a destination that they would...
Why do TV clips from like 2011 or 2012 look like the 90s now? Like that TV clip genuinely looked like it could have been from like the late 90s or early 2000s. It's so bizarre how things have advanced this quick.
...would sadly never reach, as Jean-Philippe would interrupt
I mean, look at that.
7 to share the devastating news that the plane had crashed into the ocean and that everyone aboard had likely been killed instantly, including the entire team that TVN had sent and some of the network's most prominent presenters.
Jesus
The news
Christ.
sent shockwaves across the entire country and especially the TVN network, with the on-air team having to report that their close friends and colleagues had tragically passed away. And over the course of the following days, numerous bodies would be found floating near the crash site, along with debris and eventually the craft itself. It was said that the flight had encountered heavy winds upon reaching their destination, leading to 2 failed landing attempts, and while making a large U-turn to try their 3rd landing attempt, the flight would disappear into the water, likely as a result of the craft running out of fuel. The interruption of the television program was and is considered a truly grim moment in the world of television.
Did he
but
just
the
say
situation-
debris?
U-turn to try their 3rd landing attempt, the flight would disappear into the water, likely as a result of the craft running out of fuel. The interruption of the television program was and is considered a truly grim moment in the world of television, but the situation only gets more eerie as, upon searching the wreckage, divers would discover that the network's cameraman had been filming minutes before the crash, getting shots of each and every person aboard, all of whom were clueless to the fact that in just a few minutes' time, they would all be dead.
It's like that in the US even though, Kendo. Wish we had this for the Titanic one. Oh, you mean the submarine thing? Yeah, that whole thing was
It's unexplainably
crazy.
haunting, watching a group of people unknowingly experiencing their final moments on this earth. But evidently, this footage wasn't the only morbid discovery. Within one of the camera's SD cards was a curious set of 6 images. Images that at a glance are not directly discernible, but once some effects are applied, start to become a bit more clear. As in the most infamous example, we see what appears to be a plane window, along with a
Halfway
large amount
underwater.
of water covering the lens, with the image being timestamped after the plane had impacted the water. And to make things even stranger, the SD card that was storing these images was allegedly found inside an empty water bottle. And though to my knowledge it has never been proven, these images introduce the idea that at the very least, the cameraman, Romina Irazabel, was alive and even conscious after the crash, and snapped the pictures before placing the SD card in the water bottle in order to save them from corrupting in the saltwater, which would also mean that he was alive and trapped aboard the broken vessel as it slowly sank to the bottom of the ocean, drowning with no hope of escaping the wreckage. To this day, the broadcast interruption, the footage, and the haunting unexplained final images cultivate into what can only be described as one of the darkest moments in TV
Aliens.
history.
I just can't stand whenever there's like a blurry image and people zoom in really close to it. Like, it just makes me feel nauseous immediately.
Just happened right there.
Like, it's already blurry, dude. You don't have to zoom. The more you zoom, the
All
sicker I
across my
feel.
channel is endless proof that the internet can be a dark, unforgiving place.
If this is VPN. Is this about a VPN?
Now automatically submitting opt-out requests. Keep letting people.
You guys know, whenever there's an ad, you warm up the wrist and you start mashing right on the arrow key until you get past it. That's how we do. Yeah, they're not unexplained. I would love to make these style of videos too, but he's so good at it, man. I have tough competition.
Above this white Bronco that O.J. Simpson is in.
Oh Jesus, I didn't know we were going to talk about the OJ case.
Captivating about watching a live police chase or standoff. Perhaps it's the danger of it all, the feeling that at any moment, anything can happen, as you sit there watching it all unfold with no way of knowing how it'll end.
A Max
Now, some
Headroom
of these
video
turn
essay.
out to
Didn't
have
Justin
killer
Wang make one of
finales,
those?
going on to gain notoriety for just how outrageous they are.
This is like a comfortable stroll that this guy's just taken through the neighborhood.
Somebody, making the decision said, just let this guy go.
While others conclude in complete disaster.
Luckily, not a lot of people just
Oh no.
those cars into that power line there. Wow.
Oh my
that
God.
is quite the ending to this pursuit.
And throughout the history of televised police chases and police standoffs, certain moments have left viewers shocked and traumatized by
Where's this
their
music?
abruptly
It's so good.
disturbing endings. With one of the most recognized examples coming from all the way back in 1998, in the world's capital for this type of content.
LA, yep.
LA, first edition with Carla Arago.
It happened on April 30th at approximately 3 p.m. when residents in LA had their evening programming interrupted by breaking news. A standoff of sorts had been developing on the Harbor Freeway, one in which numerous stations,
You must have
even those
quit.
showing children's cartoons, would cut to. And glued to their screens, adults and children alike would watch as 40-year-old Daniel V. Jones would exit his vehicle and display a homemade banner that read, "HMOs are in it for the money. Live free, love safe, or die," which was neatly placed on the ground as if he knew helicopters would be arriving to capture this unfolding dilemma. Daniel had been sick with cancer
That's
for
a
some
very-
time and had just recently been diagnosed
That's
with
a very deep topic, Kendo, that I can't really get into, but there's a lot of factors, I'll just say that.
Daniel had been sick with cancer for some time and had just recently been diagnosed with HIV, something that he only blamed himself for. However, these illnesses led to a growing disdain for HMOs, or health maintenance organizations, and he would express his displeasure for them in a phone call to 911 at the very beginning of the incident. During the call, he relayed how he believed the organizations valued profits over the lives of him and countless others, and he wanted to expose them and all their harmful practices in front of the entire world. And now, he had his audience. So, with the whole world watching, Daniel entered his truck with his dog Gladys, lit a Molotov cocktail, and ignited a fire inside the vehicle, all while the broadcast stayed riveted on him. The scene was absolutely brutal, but it got even worse as he eventually exited the car, still on fire and now badly burned. And despite knowing that Daniel clearly had the intention of ending his life, the cameras just
the
kept
self-immolation.
on rolling, and they continued to roll even as he brandished a shotgun, and followed through on his ultimate desire, as his life came to a gruesome end. All the while, thousands of children at home who were just trying to see their favorite cartoons watched on. The incident became a PR nightmare for the multiple stations that were live on the scene and seriously called into question the morality of broadcasting incidents of this nature. But it seems that
and yet the news loves to blame video games, movies, graphic novels, comic books. Meanwhile, they show shit like this to children knowingly because it gets views. And they want to blame other. It's like, okay, who's really at fault here?
the ratings they received were just too good to ever stray away from the
Exactly.
practice.
The ratings
In fact, if
are
anything,
king.
This incident probably boosted their intrigue, as it was the ultimate example that anything can happen on live TV. And yes, despite the tragic result and its human toll, this incident ultimately gave rise to even more broadcasts of this nature that are still to this day a commonplace, with one in particular leaving a lasting impact on myself for nearly a decade now. It started the same as any other live police chase, with multiple stations interrupting their broadcast with that classic flashing breaking news text. It was the 27th of July, 2007 in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're thrust into the action of a high-speed chase occurring at roughly 12:30 p.m. According to the broadcast, this white pickup truck had crashed into a police cruiser upon being pulled over and took off for unknown reasons, prompting not only a hefty response by local police, but local news stations as well, as after only a few minutes, news helicopters were already in the sky, streaming the whole situation out to the world. At some point in this chase, police were able to use a spike strip and seemingly shred all the tires from the man's truck, prompting him to slow down drastically and eventually bring his car to a complete stop.
And it looks like they're probably just going to let this thing play out. Yeah, he can't go much further.
Oh, I don't like what he has in this.
This led to the cameras in the sky scrambling to get that perfect shot, as the dramatic finale of this chase was growing ever so close, though no one could have imagined the tragic end that this was all headed for.
Well, he's taking off running.
Okay, now it's a foot chase.
Okay, now he's jumped into
Now he's in
another vehicle.
Yeah, these were obviously all planned.
All right, they're closing in. Looks like they've...
Oh my god.
We don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police have closed in on him. We don't know...
What? You're really gonna try to pretend that we didn't just hear and see that? We don't know what happened. It appears the police have closed in. What the fuck?
Exactly as transpired between the police.
As the camera is fixed in on the action, we see a brief moment of static before the broadcast cuts back to the studio.
If that was real
followed by
audio,
a
that's
brief
obvious what
commercial break
happened.
As confusion seems to fill the set, leaving the audience baffled at how they could pull away from the footage at such a tense, important moment, causing many to change the channel in a hurry to see just how this thing would end, which is where many would be faced with the reality of what exactly they had just witnessed.
The original truck was rigged to blow or something?
Wait, I got a problem here. Okay. I got an accident. Go north. I got a helicopter down.
Oh, no. Connie is telling us she has a helicopter down.
Oh.
Oh, no, Connie. This is unbelievable. All right, well, we're going to leave that pursuit and find out.
Oh, my God.
This is miserable. This is unbelievable. Connie, can you tell us, are you getting chatter? You would know more than us right now.
Oh, I thought the
At
truck
this moment,
exploded.
while KNVX TV's helicopter, piloted by Craig Smith, along with cameraman Rick Krolak, was capturing the action, a separate helicopter piloted by Scott Bowerbank and cameraman Jim Cox from the KTVK station had been unknowingly heading directly towards them,
Oh,
with all
damn.
four men blinded by their obligation to capture this chase in real time. The two aircrafts would unexpectedly collide, leading to the free fall of both helicopters and the deaths of all four aboard.
Yeah, I thought the truck
footage was
went.
by both parties involved and shown live to who knows how many people, with both providing equally chilling moments, like in the original KNVX TV broadcast, where you can hear the faint yelling of one of the men on board.
Well, we don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police.
And in the KTVK helicopter, when Jim Cox says the line,
"Now he's hitting eastbound and he just hit some more barricades. Absolutely unbelievable. This guy doesn't care what he hits."
when in reality, the very craft he was in was mere moments away from barreling straight into the other news chopper. The entire scene is certainly one of the darkest police chases ever recorded, and to me what makes it all the more gut-wrenching is seeing the other news stations swarm to cover the crash, with many of those people forced to cover the incident being acquaintances and even good friends, with the people they had just watched perish.
I tell you, man, that's the US in a nutshell. When people are trying to get that shot and get those ratings, they everything else goes by the wayside. Everything else. That is the most fucked up thing. Tragic accident that could have possibly happened right there.
Leading to some genuinely heartbreaking reactions.
Holy crap! Oh no! Oh Jesus! Oh God! Oh my gosh! Hey, oh my God! Channel 15 and Channel 3 just had a mid-air collision. Just watch that whole thing. I'm good. I'm off your nose.
I'm much okay. It's obviously wrong.
I think it was Scott.
There's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone.
I've actually never seen that, Kendo.
Nearly 18 years ago now, a strange phenomenon hit British tabloids as the papers began to report on a seemingly mundane man named Mick Philpott. As far as I could tell, he never seemed to go out of his way to acquire this fame, but rather the lifestyle he lived caused it to occur organically, and for all the wrong reasons. The then nearly 50-year-old man had recently become a father of 15, with the children split up between 5 different women, 2 of which he took turns living with in a sort of love triangle situation. And if the living arrangements and the sheer number of kids wasn't intriguing enough, he further gained infamy thanks in large part due to his attitude on working, as he refused to get a job and instead would allegedly scheme his way into getting exponential amounts of government benefits. And he did so all the while his pregnant wife and his pregnant girlfriend carried out full-time jobs. It's easy to find their living arrangements strange and maybe even a bit comical, but behind it all was actually a very legitimate dark side, as Mick had a habit of finding young vulnerable girls to essentially groom and impregnate. His now wife Marie was just 18 years old at the time they began dating, and she was one of the older ones, as when he was 37, he struck up a relationship with a 14-year-old girl who eventually ran away with him at the age of 16. And this dark side of his gets worse when it's revealed that he was also a notorious domestic abuser, slapping and violently beating his past partners on numerous occasions, including one instance when he stabbed his ex-girlfriend 12 times, before then turning the knife on her mother who attempted to step in and help. His reason for doing this? Well, he didn't like that she spent so much time watching over a baby she was caring for. Thankfully, despite the traumatic injuries,
how is he not in jail?
Would survive the attack and go on to live normal lives. And because of this assault, Mick would receive a staggering prison sentence of 7 years. And by the 80s, he was a free man, continuing his nefarious activities all the while. For lack of a better word, Mick was a menace, who somehow was not only a free man after all the crimes he committed, but was also having his entire life funded by the very government that should have locked him away for so much longer. And with his name now in the press, mainly for his number of children, he would use his platform to complain that the benefits he received...
Dude, I'm not even making this shit up. In my hometown, they're talking about this guy finding various ways to live off the government. In my hometown, there are people who actually, if they don't want to work, they will fake having a mental illness so that they can claim disability and get funding from the government. There are actually people who brag about doing this so that they don't have to work. That's in the South. I don't know how it is in other states or other areas in the US, but people actually do that and are proud of it in the South. So I don't know if he's claiming the same type of thing or where he's from, but that's the type of shit that happened in my hometown. Things like schizophrenia. I don't know. I don't think you actually have to prove it like that in my state. A few southern states you actually don't. But basically things that prevent you from being able to work, like things that can cause seizures, like epilepsy, that type of stuff. But I think we live in a state where you don't have to prove everything like that. Like you can just get other people to say that you are, or you can get a licensed professional to say that you are, or just basically corroborate what you say. And that's all that needs to be done. I don't know the specifics of it. I just know that some people in my hometown, older people, actually did that and they were proud of it.
Enough.
And they would look down on people that actually worked. It's very bizarre.
And that he wanted even more. This caused an even bigger stir in the tabloids, and it was only a matter of time before someone called him up to appear on TV, with Mick and his two lovers eventually being invited onto the Jeremy Kyle Show, where Mick's temper would be put on full display.
Me. I said your kids, when they came here today, were well behaved and well mannered and well groomed. No newspapers said that, so you should be apologising to me because I hadn't even started on you.
Listen, you want to start? You start! You
Oh god. It's like, Jerry.
Eventually, Mick would settle down, and his wife Marie and girlfriend Lisa Willis were brought out to discuss their relationship further, to which the two surprisingly seemed very content, not backing down from their stance that there was nothing wrong with their feelings towards Mick.
Do you not get slightly peeved that she is Mrs. Mick and you're Mistress Mick?
No.
I'm being serious.
No, I don't. You don't bother me one bit.
Ending the program off on a surprising note for the host, who likely expected some sort of reaction from the pair, even getting frustrated to the point where he would lambast the girls for their laissez-faire attitude.
Where is your dignity? You're 22. Don't you want a bloke to yourself? He just said...
Okay, this guy is just annoying.
I agree with you. When you grew up, did you think you were going to share your bloke with another woman?
I didn't actually know. But two mums is better for all the kids.
Or confusing?
No.
And as the show came to an end, so too did Mick's 15 minutes of fame, as the paper slowly began to find their next target, and the world continued on with Mick, his 15 kids, and multiple lovers out of mind.
2007 again.
Until
What is
the
up with that year?
2012, when his name would pop up once again for a much different reason.
I know, he could have gone about that so many different ways.
We've got the police on the way. Have you any idea what's caused the fire? I've no idea, mate, but it's woke up my day long. There's smoke everywhere.
On May 12, 2012, Mick's home would catch on fire in the dead of night, while he, his wife Marie, and their many children were sleeping peacefully. In the panic, the couple managed to escape with some of their kids, but tragically, 6 of them, all of whom were below the age of 10,
Jesus
would
Christ.
pass away in the blaze, having been stuck upstairs and inaccessible to any form of rescue.
Holy
By
shit,
the 16th
man.
of May, the story had reached far and wide of the tragedy that unfolded, with Mick and Marie garnering widespread community support. Locals in the area would even band together and raise the money for the children's funeral, prompting the emotional pair to give a heartfelt thank you through the media.
I've actually been down to our home.
There has to be something more to this.
We just cannot believe it. To see this community to come together like that, it's just too overwhelming. But there's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone. If you've got any questions or anything at all, please don't come through me or my family. Please go to the police.
And for many, this would have likely been the last they'd ever hear of this broken family, had it not been for a single discovery found within the home's debris.
That they said it.
While sifting
Or
through the
he
burnt
did.
remains of the house, police would discover gasoline in the mailbox, which when found at crime scenes is typically associated with arson.
Hey, what's up,
and
Mac?
coincidentally, the very morning of the fire, Mick just so happened to have a court hearing to obtain custody over he and Lisa
Yep.
Willis's children, the second woman who had appeared with Mick on the Jeremy Kyle show. Given that the general public had immediately stopped caring about this family after their appearance on TV, not many knew that Mick and Lisa had actually split up in the following years and were in the midst of a bitter custody dispute, leading to speculation that Lisa may have intentionally set Mick's home on fire as some sort of vindictive act. Or at least, that's what Mick wanted us to believe.
What you said? Tell me what you said to me. What you said about me trying to get in.
You tried everything you could to get in. Like I said to him, I wanted to run through the flames, up the stairs.
Would you cry when you were saying it? How bad?
Not really, really bad, but...
Yeah, this is darkest moments in TV history. 3.
Fingerprint on the window. That's it. A few discrepancies. That's all it is. It's my fault that half the family's gone. It's my fault we've lost our children.
Upon doing an in-depth investigation, which included bugging a hotel room that Mick and Marie were staying
Oh,
police would
damn.
eventually capture a verbal confession that proved the married couple had actually been the ones to initially set the fire, along with their friend Paul Mosley. But why? Well, their goal wasn't actually to kill the children. It was instead to save them. In reality, they had planned on setting the fire in a way that Mick and Marie could swoop in at the last minute and save all the kids, as a way of making them appear as heroes, before going on to pin the fire on Lisa, and in turn having her arrested while they obtained custody of her children. It was an evil plan that was made so much worse when the fire spread too quickly, making the rescue of the children upstairs almost immediately impossible. And in his desperate attempt to gain even more children under his roof, Mick ended up killing 6 of his very own.
Yeah, what happened with this lady? Where did she go? Ryan says hi. What's up, Ryan?
It's particularly chilling watching the 3 of these people sitting in unison on that fateful program, none of whom knowing just
The
how
man
bitter
with
things
the
would turn,
Taylor
how 2
Hawkins
of them
tattoo.
would eventually become murderers, all in an attempt to frame the other. It's unspeakably dark. And thankfully this time, Mick Philpott will be kept in prison till the day he dies.
Yeah.
Exactly where he belongs.
Well, at least that did happen.
There are a lot of accusations and allegations about what's happening. I'm going to do something that is unthinkable.
Oh no, this guy was on his Joker
Our
style.
next case is by far the most requested topic that I have ever received on this channel, as it seems to strike a chord with so many who watch the situation unfold.
I've never
live.
seen, I don't know,
Started
there's a ton of controversy about wrestling. I know nothing about it, so this is definitely going to be news to me. I don't know anything about wrestling, except the big names like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. That's it.
On the evening of June 25th, 2007.
Another
the event in which the
2007. What the hell's up with that year,
prepared
dude?
to air a live 3-hour program known as Raw. The event was set to feature their usual star-studded list of wrestlers going head-to-head in Corpus Christi, Texas. Though the morning of, out of the group of those star wrestlers, one man was missing: Chris Benoit. According to fellow wrestler Chavo Guerrero, he had received a voicemail from Benoit 2 days prior, where he was told that Benoit's wife Nancy and son Daniel had come down with food poisoning, before telling another co-worker the following day that Nancy was so sick that she had been vomiting blood.
Seems like it,
Guerrero
yeah.
would go on to state that the following morning he received vague text from Benoit, with some simply stating his address and another giving directions to where the dogs were being kept, and how the side door to the house was left unlocked. Texts that were sent around 3 a.m. and ignored by Guerrero, as he knew he would be seeing Benoit in just a few hours, given that he was going to be picking him up at the airport in preparation for the show. Though he would never hear from Benoit again.
Good evening. In reality, WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
Holy shit, they did this live?
With the program growing nearer on the 25th, news would be relayed to the WWE that Chris Benoit, along with Nancy and Daniel, had been found dead within their home. The news came as a shock to the entire wrestling world, and not wanting to carry on with the regularly scheduled
Oh, it wasn't live, okay.
event, the decision was made to cancel the matches and instead showcase a tribute to the famed wrestler who so suddenly lost his life.
Okay, so
And
they did it
on
in
the
a
evening of
classy
June
way, not...
25th, 2007, the WWE would reflect on some of Chris Benoit's best moments in the circuit, along with their biggest
No, I've never heard of
stars
this.
giving personal accounts of just how much Benoit meant to them, with it all happening live and in real time the very night that Chris was found dead. Throughout the program, wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and CM Punk, who was originally scheduled to fight Benoit that night, shared heartfelt memories of just how good a man Chris Benoit truly was, emphasizing his talent, work ethic, and the love he had for
Darkest
his family.
Moments in TV History 3 by Nick Crowley.
There was respect.
That's
It
Triple
meant
H, isn't it?
everything to him. Respect for this business, respect for the fans, respect for the wrestlers, respect for his family, respect for himself.
And for a moment, this all seemed to be exactly what the wrestling world needed, to bring everyone together in remembrance. But near the end, a shift seemed to occur following an interview given by William Regal, whose comments towards Benoit felt far more reserved than the others before him, who poured their hearts out over their fallen friend.
At a later date, I'll be quite happy to sit here and tell you all the things about Chris Benoit that I'd like to tell you. But now all I'm willing to say is that Chris Benoit was undoubtedly the hardest working man in professional wrestling.
Why is he talking like that?
According to some watching the program, the interview did feel a bit out of place,
Yeah.
and apparently slightly threw off the vibe of the remaining show, as things felt far more stiff and reserved than at its opening. And there was good reason for this. When Regal was preparing to do this live interview, he was allegedly approached by fellow wrestler John Layfield, who pulled him aside and asked, "You think he had anything to do with it?" Initially, the thought had never even crossed his mind. In fact, he had a heartfelt message fully prepared to read in the moments leading to his interview. But something about that question made him pause, leading to his subsequent words being rather short and cautious, as the hesitation led to the creeping thought of, what if he really did have something to do with it? A thought that very few at the time had even considered.
Does he even have a
which,
Twitch
looking
account?
back seems so surreal. As for those familiar with the case, you know exactly where this is headed.
Yeah, I don't.
We're now looking at this case and ruling it as a double homicide.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Evidence in the home leads us to believe that Mr. Benoit had murdered his wife by asphyxiation. Sometime shortly after that, the same for his son Daniel.
Over the previous days before Chris's tribute was aired, he would be the one to take the lives of his wife, son, and eventually himself. Benoit did so by drugging and strangling his son and wife, while leaving Bibles by their side, seemingly as a result of some type of mental breakdown. To this day, an exact motive is still not fully understood.
Yeah, I was gonna
It likely had
say.
to do with a combination of multiple factors, with the most glaring being the head trauma that Benoit had suffered as a result of his profession. As following his death, Benoit's brain was studied by a neurologist who would go on to state that Benoit's brain was so severely damaged, it resembled the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Okay.
The gruesome scene uncovered at the family home by the hands of Chris Benoit makes this whole memorial program for him just seem so much more chilling.
Yeah.
As not even 24 hours later, the man that was being so highly praised as a loving family man would be revealed to have been the one behind his own family's murder. And as disturbing as this all is, there's plenty of other chilling moments left behind by Benoit, with perhaps none more eerie than the promo he shot for another Raw event just a few years before his death.
My wife and my children will not be watching Raw because I am going to do something that is unthinkable. I'm going to leave you with my anger. Sleep well.
It's not mine. My frames aren't, I'm not dropping any frames.
July 7th, 2012.
Si dicen la verdad hasta el final, podrían ganar 50,000 soles.
Television host Beto Ortiz opens up the very first episode of a brand new TV show
That's the
called
last
El
one.
Valor de la Verdad, or The Value of Truth. Throughout its airtime, the show would challenge contestants to answer a series of
Oh,
questions.
we had a show like this in the States too. I forget what it was called, but basically they would ask like super revealing questions. Like they would have a married couple and they would bring in the wife's ex-boyfriend and they would ask her questions like, is this the man you should be married to? This looks like their version of that.
While strapped to a polygraph test, the test then
Yeah.
monitors if the person is telling the truth or not, and with each correct answer, you earn more and more money.
Yeah, it's the
until
exact
you
same
either
as
choose
the
not to
US
answer
version.
a question, or until you're caught lying. Though there was a catch. The questions would get increasingly more difficult and embarrassing, and all the while you're answering them, you're seated directly next to your loved ones, with whom the questions were often based around. The whole program is incredibly cringe-inducing, but in a way that you can't quite take your eyes off. And in Peru, The Value of Truth was poised to become a breakout hit, thanks in large part to the success of this very first episode. In it, we're introduced to the contestant Ruth Thalia Sea Sanchez, a 19-year-old call center employee hoping to gain fame from the show, while being accompanied by her parents and boyfriend Brian Romero Lavea. And they could not have selected a better inaugural participant. Up until this point, Ruth had lived her life in a state of poverty, and the type of money offered by the program would be life-changing for both herself and her family, which might explain her openness on air, as throughout the entire program, Ruth answers each and every question with painful honesty. In one moment, she admits that she wishes that she were white, and in another, she stated how she was often embarrassed by her parents' manners, which she says as they sat directly across from her.
The fuck? Like, what is the purpose of this show, dude? This is the most exploitive, and we had a version of it in the US too. It might have been based on this version. It's just so fucking exploitive.
Answer seems to drive a dagger into her parents' hearts, eventually leaving her mother in tears. And it only gets more painful from here, as she was asked, "Are you with your crush until someone better arrives?" To which she says, yes, with her boyfriend watching on, just feet away. And following this, the questions would become more and more intrusive, with Ruth eventually having to admit that in order to pay her bills, she worked at a nightclub as a stripper, which was news to all of her loved ones who sat there stunned by the revelation, especially her boyfriend Brian. A revelation that leads us to Ruth's final question, and the most painful one of all.
But hey, she has money.
Have you ever accepted money in exchange for sex?
Oh my God.
Question which she would answer, yes, before promptly ending her time on the show 3 questions away from the finale.
There were more?
Me retiro. Se retira. Me retiro.
The whole ordeal left everyone, including the audience, completely stunned. On one hand, many applauded Ruth for being so honest, and on the other, she was criticized for putting her family and her boyfriend specifically through this embarrassing line of questions.
You've already ruined your relationship with everybody that came to be on the show with you. You might as well just go for broke at that point and fucking just max out the money.
Broadcast for the whole country to see. The cringe-inducing episode became so popular that the station supposedly aired it each weekend for a staggering 12 weeks straight. The show and Ruth herself became instant phenomenons, and in a sense, this did bring Ruth some of the fame that she so desperately desired, making appearances on multiple news programs in the following weeks, and becoming a legitimate household name in Peru. And the finances helped her situation too, as she walked away with 15,000 sols, or about $5,800 back then.
That's it?
And for a moment, it seemed as if the pain of releasing all this private information might have actually been worth it. Until the day she vanished. Out of nowhere, Ruth suddenly went radio silent, missing appointments and failing to answer her phone while her home sat vacant. For 10 days straight, there was no sign of the young star, prompting a massive search of the area she lived in, with those same loved ones that had accompanied her on The Value of Truth helping lead the search efforts. Until, eventually, police would happen across her lifeless body, buried in a shallow grave. She had died of asphyxiation, a clear-cut case of murder, and there was only ever one suspect.
The boyfriend?
Before Ruth had vanished, she would make an appearance on TV, in which she appeared lower energy than normal, expressing her sadness in the fact that her and her boyfriend Brian had broken up, likely as a result of the embarrassment brought about by the show. And with this in mind, Brian had been questioned about his role in her disappearance, and eventually admit to everything. Angered by the embarrassment that Ruth had caused him in front of the entire nation, and feeling as if he was owed a certain percentage of the money that Ruth had earned, Brian would visit Ruth's home and drug her with sleeping pills before proceeding to assault her and eventually her. He would then bury her body in the hopes that she would never be found. Years later, Brian would be found guilty of Ruth's murder and receive the punishment of life in prison. Despite its very first episode leading to a prolific murder case, The Value of Truth remained a hit show for years to follow, until it would eventually fizzle out and be taken off the air, leaving in its wake a multitude of embarrassing memories.
I don't think so,
One of the
no.
darkest moments in TV history.
That was a great video, but man, as always, they're very emotionally draining to watch all at once like that. Man, I'm surprised this guy hasn't gotten like completely demonetized though. I don't know if he can be monetized at all for this, which is probably why he has a sponsor spot in each one of these. Mick Philpott intentionally setting a fire so he can look like a hero after putting it out is literally textbook hero syndrome. Well, yeah. As far as the Benoit situation, William Regal lived very close to Benoit, so he was intimately familiar with the domestic problems Chris and Nancy had been having. He'd been called out a couple of occasions to calm Benoit down, so Regal knew a lot more than everyone else at the memorial show, which is why he made the very vague and somewhat cryptic comments about him and his family. Was it called The Value of Truth in the US as well? The Moment of Truth is what they called it in the US, but it's the exact same episode, or it's the exact same show. Yeah, this was the one that everybody talked about. You can see it's even the same, like everything about it is identical.
Question is a devastating question. If you don't want the $1,000,
Okay, so this is her ex-boyfriend here. The dude sitting on the couch is her husband. This is her ex-boyfriend, and here's the question.
when you're ready,
Your husband.
question 15.
If I wanted to get back together with you, would you leave your husband?
Look what she says.
Devastating question. No?
I don't know what that means.
This is entertaining to watch, but this is real.
I don't want to hear that answer. I don't think anyone will want to hear that answer.
My question to you, Lauren, is did she just save you or cost you $100,000?
Sure, I don't know.
That your ex-boyfriend Frank will ask in place. That Monica stopped.
Do you believe I'm the man you should be married to?
Yeah, so they switched that question out with this question. Now she has to answer this one. Look what she says.
Well,
The fact that she's even struggling with it that much as this dude, I'd already be out of there. I'd take the ring off, toss it into the audience, and leave.
want to be honest and say yes.
That answer is true.
Jesus Christ, man. What a show. What a fucking show. And then they're all just sat there, and it's just awkward as fuck because it's like, oh, she just admitted that the dude she's married to, she just married him for other reasons, but actually wants to get back with her ex or whatever.
$100,000. First of all, Frank, is there anything you want to say at this point?
No, there's really nothing else I can really hear, so might as well just go for it.
Have you guys talked about this ex-boyfriend at all?
Yeah, earlier on in our marriage, but I mean, I didn't know he was still an issue.
I mean, with an answer like that, I can only assume that you're not happy. Are you unhappy?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Lauren, what do we do here?
This is
Bro, take the fucking ring off, toss that shit into the audience, and leave. That's what you do. And tell her your shit will be on the front porch when we get home.
Come on, what else is there? You know, I mean, just go for it.
This is a little bigger than the game right now. So you have $100,000, okay? You leave here with $100,000 right now, and you go home with your husband, Frank, and you have to now figure out where you two are.
I would tell her to go. What else is there to tell me? What else is there to really tell me?
What? Yeah.
And the fucking pity claps from the audience, like, holy shit, my dude. That is, and it's on national TV for all to see. Oh my god, dude. It's on national TV for all to see. That is so fucked up. But it's literally the exact same show, man. That's, you know what? When I see shit like that, sometimes I get hope for, you know, maybe things don't have to be so reality TV, but it's shit like that where I'm like, no, it's the same garbage it's always been. So I don't even fucking know, dude. It's just incredible. But that's what I would do. Like, dude, that guy's got to have some self-respect and just straight up say, look, you just admitted it. Go be with that guy. Take the fucking ring off, throw that shit into the audience, and just be like, you know, or give it to him. That would have been even funnier if he took the ring off and gave it to that guy. And then he just said, like, your shit will be on the porch when you get home. So have fun moving all that stuff with the money that you earn. That's what I would have done, seriously. Fuck that. Although he was probably paid to stay there for the whole taping or whatever, the whole recording of it. So, I don't know. But like, it's kind of like when a guy proposes in public or something and they put that unfair amount of pressure on the person they're proposing to. And then they say no and run away. It's like, dude, if you guys obviously weren't there, why the fuck did you do that? It's same deal the other way around. Like, she just straight up admitted she would rather be married to her ex on national TV, and you just got embarrassed. Like, there is no relationship any further. Like, it's fucking over. It is over. Oh, hey, Linus Tech Tips posted a... Oh, they made a community post, but they didn't actually upload a video. They still haven't, and it's almost midnight Eastern. Or it is Eastern midnight. Oh, I don't even know, man. I can't believe I wasn't actually subbed to Nick Crowley, even on my main YouTube account, though. I should have been a long time ago. He makes really great videos. But yeah, I used to do, this is actually kind of a deep cut, but I actually used to do transcription on the side. And if you don't know, it's kind of similar to captioning, but not exactly. But transcription, basically, you listen to either one person speaking or a large group of people speaking. You assign a color to each person, and you type out exactly what they're saying as accurately as you can. So if they need like an entire shoot of something transcribed, that's what you would do. And I made a decent amount of side money doing that a few years ago. And that's what really opened my eyes. Obviously, I did sign an NDA, so I can't talk about exactly what projects I worked on ever. But that really opened my eyes to how fake TV is. I will say that, because there would be things like 2-hour long shoots that would be condensed down to 5 or 10 minutes of live footage that they would need transcribed. So they're somehow editing down 2 hours of footage to like 10 minutes. And that's how fake it all is. It's all, even sentence structures. Like when you hear a narrator talking in a reality TV show or something, listen for when their sentences get cut off and they try to like copy and paste sentences together. They do it all the time to make people sound like they're saying certain things that they're not actually saying. It happens constantly. So when I actually saw the episode of what I had been working on when I saw that it aired, I was like, wow, they only used 30 seconds of that? What the fuck? I was like an hour and 15 minutes long. So it's fucking crazy, man. And obviously, my dad was not the first person to say it. There's many other people that have said it in the past, but he did tell me when I was younger, like, there's either reality or there's TV. There's no world that both of them exist together. It's not possible. Because the reality of it is, no pun intended, nobody's life is interesting enough to have cameras on them 24/7. Eventually, you're going to need writers. You're going to need script supervisors. You're going to need, like, scenario writers. You're going to need people to secure, like, different places for you to shoot. Like, if you don't think Keeping Up with the Kardashians or shows like Robin Big or Viva La Bam that used to be on MTV were fully scripted, they 100% were. They would have, like, a ton of writers. They would have a ton of, script supervisors and shit that would be, and scenario writers. They would just be, like, standing around, and there would be someone paid by MTV to go, oh, wouldn't it be a funny plot point if we did X, Y, and Z? And then everybody would get into position and they would just stage it. That's how all those shows work. There's not an ounce of reality in that bullshit. Because again, if there was, they wouldn't have enough to make a good TV show. And they need to make sure they can fabricate enough nonsense to get a good TV show out. That's their main and only priority. At the end of the day. It doesn't, just filming somebody's everyday life, it would be like, okay, they slept. And then they woke up and they had their coffee. And then they sat around. And then they watched some TV. And then they went to the store and got some food. And then they ate the food and cooked the food. You know, it's like, that's what it would be. If someone actually had cameras on them 24/7, that's the shit that we would see. I was actually curious the other day. I was thinking, like, yeah, I was wondering if that guy Charles Trippy is still making videos, and apparently he is still making daily uploads. This dude has the world record for the most daily vlogs ever uploaded. I think he started in like 2007 and he's still doing it. So he has like, I don't know how many days consecutive. I don't know. Day 4,000. Yeah, he has 4,918 days of consecutive daily vlogs, dude. Holy shit. That is just unbelievable. It's like, I just don't understand how anybody's life is interesting enough to make a daily video about what they're doing. And it must be so exhausting for the family too, because it's like anytime they invite this guy out, he's got to bust out the camera and he's got to make a little, he's got to talk to the camera and make some content. God, it must be so fucking exhausting. Anyways, you guys, I'm sorry for the shorter stream tonight, but yeah. I have a lot of stuff I need to work on, and again, I'm sorry to keep saying that I'm ending the stream because I'm working on YouTube videos, but I really am. So I want to get some more progress made on those, get those ready to get out, and you know, tonight was kind of a weird one, but I still enjoy, you know, just talking and watching videos occasionally. I actually really enjoy it immensely. So I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit more of this, but I do, like I said, I've got a 3-day weekend coming up. So either Monday night or Tuesday night, I'm going to be playing the first 4 Silent Hill games. Maybe I'll do 1 on its own night and then 2, 3, 4 like I did last time. But I would like to chain them all together and do 1 through 4 in one shot, because I haven't done that in a long ass time. So either way, I will talk to you guys later. I'm going to break these chains over here, and you guys have a great rest of the night. I will talk to you Monday night. Goodbye.